Did you ever think you would make it? I feel I'm so close I could taste sweet victory. I know this life meant for me.
Adam, what's your point? The future looks bright.
My handshake is better than anything I ever saw. It's right here.
You are a one-of-one?
My son's right about
I don't think I've ever said this before.
Okay. All right. Lots going on, folks. Lots going on. I got a whole breakdown for wealth tags that I want to talk about sometime here on the podcast. I'm sure when we get to the Seattle part, we will get to. I just blew my nose. So, anyways, what else we got going on? So we have a report comes in with Trump saying he's going to remove how many soldiers, Tom? Is it 5,000?
5,000
From Germany because the guy talked smack. He's like, oh, really?
Yeah.
Really? You don't need anybody. Hey, guys.
Bounce.
Bounce.
Du
We're outta
kannst mich
here.
mal am Arsch
Nine.
lecken.
That's right.
Not 5.
Then Project Freedom was, I don't know what you just said, Tom, right there. Project
Tom's
Freedom,
German. I said get out in German.
Yeah. Project Freedom was just announced.
The fact that he knows that.
Project Freedom was just announced from Trump in regards to Rob. This is the one with Strait of Hormuz where they're escorting the ships out and telling them where not to go, where the mines are at, right? And Iran is saying that's breaking the ceasefire. And Iran's saying they suggested they had 14 points that they asked for. I believe the administration said no to 7 or 8 points, but nobody knows what the 14 points are because they're not public. But Operation Project Freedom, United-led military operation by multinational coalition formed just now to respond to Iranian attacks on shipping in Strait of Hormuz. So they're trying to find a way to get ships across. We'll talk about that. A couple other things. In the Daily Wire, rumors has it, a story came out that they fired, what's the number?
60%?
60% of
Layoffs?
people that were let go. And the editor-in-chief is like, you guys don't know what you're talking about. That's not the number. We'll address that on what's going on there. Cuba, Trump coming out, hey, Rubio's going to be leading this. They extended the sanctions to make it clear on what's going to be happening there. Nick Shirley literally just got back from Cuba himself. He was saying that they don't even have gas if you want to go buy gas. $40 a gallon if you want to buy. I don't know what the number is.
You have to get in line.
You have to get in line to even
Just
get
for the
it. It's a
opportunity to
mess
buy
over
the
there.
gas.
Yes, and so that's that part. And then aside from that, Tucker did an interview with, what do you call it?
It was a New York Times.
New York Times interview with Tucker. He said a few things that it's interesting to talk about. Yes, Spirit Airlines letting go. What's the number, Rob? 17,000 people done? You know, and you go back and find clips of what Garland said many years ago, the DOJ and the positions they took with Spirit Airlines, the things Elizabeth Warren said. Now she wants to blame gas prices for the shutdown instead of what's going on. Duffy came out and talked about it himself and what happened. I think Besson even made some comments. We'll play those clips. Yeah, 15, 16, 17,000 jobs lost. Boom, airline giant gone. And you know who this was beneficial for? Lower and middle income families who were traveling because their flights were, if you've ever been on a Spirit airline, you know the greatest customer service you will find in your life. If you've ever been on it. Have you ever been on Spirit?
My question is, where are all those angry women going to go? Like, where are they going to go work now? Yelling at you, that bag, $25.
It's called the DMV.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, you're right.
Actually good.
It was
The
gangster,
DMV.
Pat. They would
I
yell
like
at
that.
you. Oh,
they
my
would be
God.
Qualified DMV
Put that in that fitter bag.
Yeah,
Make
Rob,
sure it fits.
Rob, put that clip of what happens at Spirit Airlines. I don't know if you saw the
fight?
highlight reel, all the fights and everything that happens with employees.
I love it.
We have to show that clip. Aside from that, we got a couple other things. California's population plummets for the first time since the pandemic as LA sees extraordinary exodus that is taking place. So not only did they have an exodus during COVID, this is another one that they're having. And so we'll address that. There's a federal government, Congress bill that went out there. They want the minimum wage now to be not $7.20, not $10, not $15, not $20. They want it to be $25 an hour is what they want it to be for federal. They want the minimum wage to be
And federal right now is $7, I want to say?
$7.20 is right now, I believe, is what the number is. Rob, can you verify if I'm saying it correctly? I think it's 7 something. Yeah, $7.25 right now.
I'm getting a raise.
They want to raise that to $25 an hour on where the number is. You ain't getting a raise, buddy. I'm telling you right now.
Come on, Pat.
Miracles happen.
$7.
So that's that part. And then Gavin Newsom went on Bill Maher, and Bill Maher tried his best to try to help him out, man. Even his best. Can you imagine his own friend failed him?
His really close
His
friend.
own friend failed him to the point that Trump had to come out in 300-word tweet you're talking about?
300, maybe
one
even
of those,
more.
One of those long, legendary tweets that comes out. We'll address that. I don't know what happened with Charlemagne, but he said a couple words that Vinny's not happy about. So
You're
we'll
talking
talk
about little
that as well.
Leonard?
Little Leonard?
Little Leonard.
Who is Little Leonard?
That's his name. I'll never call him whatever the G word. His name is Leonard.
You could just call him Charlemagne.
Is it really Little Leonard?
No, I call him Little. He's Little
Why
Leonard.
do you call him Little?
He's just an angry
like Little
dude.
Richie, like Little Ricky, Little
Yeah.
Baby Grind.
Good golly, Miss Molly.
Grind with me.
Why don't we just say
like
the
your
quasi
mind.
deity?
That's Pretty Ricky.
Charlemagne,
Pretty
the
Ricky.
quasi
Not Little
deity.
Ricky.
You're right.
Let's put some respect on Pretty Ricky. Come on.
No. So Kentucky Derby trainer wins. The reaction's the best. By the way, this is why I believe Kentucky Derby. If you've never been, you got to go. Greatest 2 minutes in sports. This female trainer wins the first time ever. She literally is celebrating and having anxiety and panic attacks all at the same time.
Oh.
If you haven't seen this clip, it's phenomenal.
It's like Secretariat.
It's like Secretariat.
Last place.
Yeah, last place. And then we got a couple other stories I will definitely try to get into, which is, one of them is wilder than the other one. But we have to address some of these issues on what's going on. And so with that being said, guys, a couple things that I do want to talk to you guys about. One thing is the following. Every 3 to 4 years, we find ways to improve valuetainment, and I'm talking about with the public, so I want to hear commentary from the public. We want to get feedback on what things can happen better with PBD Podcast, what content you want to see improve in, business, how to, whatever it is that we cover, we want to get your feedback and your input. So here's what we're doing. We are creating a survey. Anybody that texts the word PBD to 310-340-1132, again, text the word PBD to 310-340-1132, you will automatically get a survey to do. And I think the survey is, a couple basic questions to ask about everybody here, about what things can happen better, all the things that we can improve in. And for anybody that completes the survey, beginning to the end, all of it answers, we're giving a $25 gift card to the store. It doesn't matter if it's 50,000 people that take it or 5,000 people that take it. Everyone gets a $25 gift card to vtmerch.com. Go purchase whatever you want. You have $25 gift card for completing the survey because we want to hear from you. This thing started off, Valuetainment started off with me doing a couple basic videos with Mario, 2 minutes with Pat, with me in pink socks, the first episode we ever did. Till today, it haunts me every time I see those pink socks. And the way I'm sitting on that couch, Rob, if you want to show the first clip we ever did on Valuetainment, it really inspires me to know how far along we've come and all the board videos we used to do to then starting the podcast. Yeah, if you go there, go to videos and go to the oldest right there and go to that one right there. No, go to the second one. Go to the second one, Rob.
Look at those things.
Go a little bit right there. The second
things.
one. Look at the way I'm sitting. Go to 40 seconds. We want look at the way I'm sitting. Just right there is fine, Rob. Okay.
You have
Look at the
Chinese
way I'm
subtitles,
sitting.
Rob?
I mean, it's like horrible, right?
What is that?
That's
like
the
the
first
look.
video ever. That's Woodland Hills.
I mean,
What year
that's
was
the
that,
mountains.
Pat?
Imagine your shirt,
2013?
though. You
Go look
can't
it up.
even-
I think it's 2013, whatever it is, when I
Look at
wrote
the
a book.
smog out there.
So now PBD Podcast where it's at. So it wouldn't happen without you. Everywhere I go and I run into people and we talk and we have different stories that we discuss. It's always great, the relationship that we have together for those guys that tune in. So it would mean a lot to us if you can go do the survey. Again, text the word PBD to 310-340-1132 and we'll send the link for you to do the survey. Or, Rob, what is the link that they can go to? Do you have the link?
I do. It is survey.vt.com.
Can you also put that in the comment section,
Yep.
in the chat, in the description, everywhere so people can go do it?
Yep.
We're gonna thank you, Jake, for that as well, the voice of God.
Thank you.
We will make sure to read every single one of the piece of feedback you put because we want to hear from you. And by the way, you may say, who am I? You guys don't need to hear we want to hear from everybody. From the guy that is a CEO of a Fortune 100 company that watches a podcast regularly and messages me, to the person that watches you, the family, you're a farmer, you're somebody that just tuning in, you like the style, we want to hear from you. Please go to survey.vt.com and complete the survey. You'll get a $25 gift card for doing this. With that being said, let's get right into it. So, out of all the stories that we have going on, I'm trying to see which one to start off with. I say we go, Rob, with the first one being Project Freedom. So Project Freedom is something that was just dropped this morning. And Tom, I'm going to come to you first on this one here. Rob, what page is Project Freedom on? This is the whole story about them helping ships go through, okay? And they're escorting these things to make sure you don't hit a mine. Iran is not happy about it because that's saying that's breaking the ceasefire. Nobody knows yet who the $2 million is going to with Project Ceasefire. Rob, if you want to go to the president's tweet first, and then I'll go into this clip. Countries from all over the world, almost all of which are not involved in the Middle East disputes, are going on so visibly and violently for all to see, have asked the U.S. if we could help free up their ships, which are locked up in the Strait of Hormuz on something which they have absolutely nothing to do with. They are merely neutral and innocent bystanders for the good of Iran, the Middle East, and the United States. We have told these countries that we will guide their ships safely out of their restricted waterways so that they can freely and ably get on with their business. Again, these are ships from areas of the world that are not in any way involved with which is currently taking place in the Middle East. I've told my representative to inform that we will use best effort to get their ships and cruise safely out of the strait. In all cases, they said they will not be returning until the area is becoming safe for navigation and everything else. This process, Project Freedom, will begin Monday morning, Middle East time. I'm fully aware that my representative are having their very positive discussions with the country of Iran, and that these discussions could lead to something very positive for all. The ship movement is merely meant to free up people, companies, and countries that have done absolutely nothing wrong. They are victims of circumstances. This is a humanitarian gesture on behalf of the United States, Middle Eastern countries, in particular the country of Iran. Many of these ships are running low on food, and many of these ships are running low on food and are necessary for large-scale crews to stay on board in a healthy and sanitary manner. I think could go a long way in showing goodwill on behalf of all those who have been fighting so strenuously over the last number of months. So, Tom, why is this such a big deal?
This is a big deal for a couple of reasons. The first reason it's a big deal is because it allows things to start moving through the Gulf. And additionally, that last comment there was real. Some of these people have been on ships for a while. The ships are low on food, fresh water. They've had some replenishment, but the point is it's been problematic. You know, they haven't been able to pull over to Costco and fill up on the regular provisions. And so, number one, you got to get some cargo moving through the Gulf, which is good. And number two, it shows that the U.S. has been effective. Why is Iran saying, Pat, oh, you're violating the ceasefire when no shots have been fired? Why are they saying that? Because this is not what they wanted. And over the last 3 weeks, U.S. minesweepers have been going on what's called the original southern lanes. Do we have a map up there, Rob? The original southern lanes were the ones that were right close to Oman, UAE, very, very close on the tip. It's the map we've had for there you go. So you can see here the map. You see there, Pat? You have the ones that were closest to Oman and Kasab. Those were the original lanes, and those are the ones where Iran had put the mines. And remember, they said, "Oh, well, we dropped off some mines. We forgot where we put them."
Where exactly?
Yeah. So the U.S. has had drones and minesweepers in the area. Remember, we covered the minesweepers coming to the area, along with drone subs. And the drone subs go underwater and sometimes send signals that cause some of these mines to detonate underwater, and then they fall to the bottom of the straits. Whereas Iran wanted the mining there so they could force everybody to go up to, I mispronounce this, Keshem Island that's up there, where they would charge them a fee to go there. So what the U.S. has done is kind of semi-open some of the southern lanes. And what the U.S. military, who has mapped it, is now saying, Pat, hey, you need to get your ship through. Listen, take this path about like this. You should be good because we've been out there sweeping for mines. Thank you very much. I'm going to go through. Iran, wait a minute. You can't do that. That violates the ceasefire. Wait a minute. What does violating a ceasefire have to do when all I'm doing is I'm also escorting at a distance? What they're doing, it's like security is really what it is, Pat. It's like security. So it's like Iran sees a U.S. frigate shadowing a foreign tanker just trying to go through the strait, and Iran knows that if it launches things out there, that would be a violation of a ceasefire, that we're going to knock them out of the sky. So have a nice day. So the reason this is significant is the U.S. has got the strait moving a little bit, and it shows that the minesweeping activity has been somewhat effective, and we're trying to get things going, and we're trying to get it open. A lot of people would say it's a long time coming. It's taken longer than I would have hoped it would, but it shows that there's movement, and it shows that there's positive progress. But violate a ceasefire, the guy screaming about that, Pat, is because, you know, we've sort of foiled some of their sea mine plot.
Sea mine plot?
Yeah,
because they put the mines everywhere.
Right. And by the way, we're talking about 100 to roughly 1,600 vessels, 20,000 crew workers that are on these ships, depending on the sizes.
Just sitting there.
Some of these guys are like, dude, I need to eat something. You know, they're running out of basic supply. So, and it's not like they're going to be like, hey, let's go to Iran. Let's go to dinner over there. Let's go and come back. You can't do that. Like, get on small little boats and go out there. It's a different kind of a situation. Now, while this is going on, Rob, Iran sends their proposal to U.S. with 14 points that they asked about, right? And then U.S. comes back and says, no, we're not having the 7 to 8 points that we're going to be with. And Ruhollah, their supreme leader, came out and said the following. I think he said something about the fact that we're not compromising. Iran's supreme leader vows to protect nuclear and missile capabilities. And they keep saying this over and over and over again, meaning, look, we're not doing anything unless if we can't have our nuclear weapons. So they keep saying this. This is the supreme leader. Iran's supreme leader vows to protect nuclear and missile capabilities right there. Capable in the statement, Ayatollah Mojtaba Khamenei said that the only place Americans belong in the Persian Gulf is at the bottom of its waters. Okay, obviously that's how you speak when you're negotiating. Yeah. Very sweetheart. Yeah, Iran's supreme leader defied Thursday to protect the Islamic Republic's nuclear and missile capabilities, with U.S. Donald Trump has sought to curtail. In a statement read by state television anchor, Ayatollah Mojtaba Khamenei said the only place Americans belong to the Persian Gulf is the bottom of the water, and a new chapter was being written in the region's history. His remarks come as Iran's economy is reeling and its oil industry is being squeezed by the U.S. Navy blockade, halting its tankers from getting out to sea. The world economy is under pressure as Iran maintains its chokehold on the Strait of Hormuz, through which a fifth of all crude oil is transported. On Thursday, the global benchmark for crude, for oil, Brent crude, hits as high as 126. So 90 million proud and honorable Iranians inside and outside the country regard all of Iran's identity-based, spiritual, human, scientific, industrial, and technological capabilities, from nanotechnology to biotechnology to nuclear and missile capabilities, as national, said Khamenei, by the way. So he's selling Iran, and they want to make sure this is not going to be going away. So do we yet know, Rob, what those 7 or 8 are that America turned down?
No, I don't believe they have been publicized yet.
Okay, so we don't know that. But this is happening while they send the 14. Trump at first says he doesn't know. Then he said, we looked at it, we don't like some of the demands on what's going on. And so we'll see. Most reported 14 components, binding non-aggression guarantees from U.S., full end to hostilities across all fronts, including Israel, Lebanon, withdrawal of U.S. forces from around Iran region, end of U.S. naval blockade of Iran, reopening of Strait of Hormuz under a new joint system, full lifting of U.S. sanctions, release of frozen Iranian assets, that's $30 billion, compensation reparation for war damage, resolution of all regional conflicts tied to the war, recognition of Iran's regional security role, end to sovereign interference in Iran's international affairs, delay nuclear negotiations until after the war ends. Absolutely. Just a brilliant way of possible temporary freeze or limits on enrichment later, no upfront nuclear concessions in the initial deal phase. Adam.
Well, Iran is not to be trusted whatsoever. You know, Jake Sullivan, who used to be the advisor for Biden, national security advisor, he said, listen, when it comes to Iran, remember this one thing. You know, there's a famous phrase, you know, trust but verify. He said, just remember this. Don't trust them and verify everything. By the way, speaking of trust, tell me who you think said this quote. No unilateral Iranian arrangements can be trusted or relied upon following its treacherous aggression against all its neighbors.
Hillary?
You think Hillary said that?
Barack Obama.
Who do you think said that? Barack Obama? Who do you
I'm
think?
going to go with BHO.
How about the King of United Arab Emirates, Mohammed bin Zayed, the MBZ, you know, not MBS from
you down with MBZ?
Saudi.
Yeah,
you down with MBZ? Yeah, you know me. He said, do not trust these people. Going on, he said, in the ongoing discussions surrounding the Strait of Hormuz, the collective international will and provisions of international law emerge as the primary guarantor of freedom and navigation through the vital passage, ultimately saying that we're drawing from OPEC and that we're drawing closer ties to Israel. Israel has now sent UAE, who they signed the Abraham Accords with, the first of its kind ever to send and deploy the Iron Dome system to UAE. So I'll ask you this. Who do you think knows Iran better than anybody? Its neighbors. UAE has been attacked more than any other country. So they're basically saying we're aligning with the U.S., we're done with the cartel known as OPEC, we're aligning with Israel and the Abraham Accords for economic and stability through strength. And bottom line, Iran is not to be trusted. Now, UAE, I got to give respect to these people out there. They're calling themselves the Switzerland of the Middle East, and their stock is being lowered because of its smelly kid on the playground known as Iran.
And just from those 14 points, I don't see anything there that the president would go, yeah, okay, we're good. So you know what that says? They're not trying to make this thing stop. They're not, because did you read every single one of them? Every single one of them, just for a second, I went, okay, is that something that a business guy like Trump would say, yeah, we're good. Remove this, do that. It's all positive stuff for them, and we'd be completely kicked out. So it doesn't look like that. That's not a realistic plan.
Let me add one thing, and Pat, I want to get your perspective here because you lived there for 10 years. You know why I respect Iran? Because I know exactly what they stand for. You know, we're talking about the ships, the naval passage, the Strait of Hormuz. You know, on like the Titanic, you know, the thing is, I'm going down with the ship. The Ayatollahs and the ROGC, you know what I know about them? They're willing to go down with the ship. This is an existential threat. We want to get in and get out. They will kill everybody, including their own citizens, in order to survive. How do you negotiate with someone like that that's willing to kill their own people? That's the hard part here.
The only way you would do it, like this is the only way I would think this is possible, is to make sure Putin and China are on your side, telling them, get your act together. And that's not happening. And so the fact that who's the second most powerful man in the world?
Probably Xi.
You would put Xi in ahead of Putin that's got 10,000 nuclear? Okay, who's the third?
I'd put Xi.
Who do you put?
Trump is number one.
I think,
okay.
Xi is number two.
I think I put Putin 2.
Well,
Okay,
actually,
by the way-
hold on. Bibi Netanyahu's number one because obviously he controls Trump.
Oh, yeah.
Possibly Xi also.
Okay, so in that
Maybe even
case,
Putin.
Bibi,
obviously.
But on a serious note, tell me.
I think Putin.
Xi is number two.
No,
Okay.
Putin might be number three.
It would be very close.
Let me ask Tom.
Sure.
Tom, give me the top 3 most powerful people in the world.
Right now, I think right now, one of the most powerful people in the world. I think, first of all, Trump is, I think, the most powerful guy in the world.
Just give me your
thank
top
you.
3, Tom.
Yeah.
And then number 2, I think because of negative influence right now, is Xi, and even greater negative influence is, I think, right now, whoever is leading Iran right now is number 3, because you're through negative influence, you're creating havoc.
Where do you put Putin?
Putin, right now, Putin's probably, to me, like number 4, but
Okay.
I put Iran ahead of Putin simply because.
Yeah.
Tom, you took 70 seconds to
Seriously,
answer
I'm
one
like,
question.
just
What's
give
the-
me an
Come on,
answer.
baby.
So let's
Why, who
just
do you
say-
think is? You don't think it's Putin?
Let's. I don't care where you put Putin. Let's say Putin's the top 5. Okay. In this situation that we're dealing with, what do you call it? That we're dealing with Iran. Okay. If Putin or Xi, who have influence over Iran, don't tell Iran, hey, let's wrap it up, guess what's going to happen? It's going to continue. So if Putin met with Abbas Araghchi and they're sitting there together going through it, there's no way. So this is kind of like, hey, don't worry about it. I got your back. So you give the guy, in Farsi, there's a word called poru. Poru. How do you, by the way, for the Iranian people watching this, can you in the chat explain what the definition of poru is? Okay. The Iranian poru, it means what? Not Peru, poru. P-O-R-U, poru, like that. Farsi meaning of poru, shameless, cheeky, brazen. It describes someone who is audacious or acts with excessive boldness, often crossing social boundaries. It is commonly used to describe pushy behavior, though it can sometimes be used playfully among friends. So the IRGC today is poru because of China and Russia, period. They're acting the way that they are because of them. So if you really want to negotiate with somebody like that and you want to kind of get things done, your first thing is Russia and China. So I would be talking and saying, hey, Putin, I need your back in this situation with Iran. China, I need your back in this situation with Iran. What are you going to be doing? Well, Xi just came out recently. He's like, no, we're not with this on what you guys are doing. And Putin came out and said, no, I'm meeting with the guy and I'm showing him we are a very strong ally. So I think Trump has to get very, very creative to get these guys to want to negotiate, because for as long as Iran knows that China and Russia have their backs, they're going to be poru. Simple. Yep. And that's not going to be going away anytime soon the way it's looking like. So
Why do you say it's not going to be going?
Rocket fuel. China's sending them rocket fuel.
no.
The story that you keep hearing is that they're hemorrhaging money. I mean,
They are.
$500 million a
Billions.
day. How long is that sustainable for? We're talking trillions of dollars.
they
in the
don't
next few months.
care. They don't care.
But how are they going to fund everything?
They'll find a way to get help. They'll sell anything and everything.
They're going to sell their blood
They'll
to the
sell
Chinese.
anything and everything to not have Western ideology be in Iran. Anything and everything
But
to
how
make
long
sure.
is that sustainable if they have no money?
I don't know the answer to the question. I can tell you we have a deadline. They don't.
What do you think our deadline is?
June 14th is our deadline.
Why is that specific number?
World Cup starts. It's Trump's birthday. June 14th is Trump's birthday. From there on, if you get this thing done pre-June 14th, everybody will forget about Iran come August, September, and we'll be moving on with interest rates going lower, gas prices going lower, economy coming back up. We're going to be looking at World Cup, 4th of July celebration, 250 years. But U.S. has a deadline. U.S.'s deadline is June 14th.
That's your opinion.
That's
June
my
14th.
opinion.
Okay,
This is my opinion.
Trump didn't say that.
No,
that
Trump,
date.
this is my opinion.
Okay.
PBD, I'm saying it. I'm
So
giving that.
what do you think will happen realistically that Trump's decision makes
Iran
by
knows the
June
deadline.
14th?
Iran knows the deadline. Iran knows.
They're basically saying we got 6 weeks.
Oh, they're like, guys, it's okay. Double down. The Supreme Leader just said what? What was his line, Rob? Can you pull up the line of what the Supreme Leader said?
Who the hell's the Supreme Leader?
The son.
Is he even alive?
Yeah, he's injured.
The
apparently.
Supreme Leader
gay one?
says, he says in a statement, the only place Americans belong, Americans, not America. Americans is like everybody. It's like the way Randy Fine said Armenians, right? And then he had to come back and change his position. It's Americans. The only place Americans belong is in the Persian Gulf at the bottom of its waters. That a new chapter. So how do you think, if he writes
Yeah, of course.
like this publicly, how do you think he is
Oh my
privately?
God, the people that shout death to America nonstop want to see America at the
but
bottom of the sea? No way.
To me, if he says America, if he says Trump, if he says the current leader, the current regime, that's different than you saying Americans. Americans.
American,
So that
not
means,
Americans.
that means it's everybody. So for me, you're dealing with somebody whom you just killed his wife. I think you killed his mom. I think you definitely killed his father. And you want him to be nice and friendly right now? No. Hey, look, I was on Piers 3 days before they killed Khamenei, and I'm like, what's the point of killing an 86-year-old man? Okay, there's not a point. Symbolism, I totally get. But by the way, here's the thing though. If we're in a gang, we're in a crew, you go and kill 50 of the leaders in that gang, there is no negotiation.
It's over.
No, it's not. I'm not saying it's over. It's like, hey, if your position is we're going to go kill 50 of your top guys in your gang, guess what the position has to be?
We got to take them out.
You got to take all of them out.
Yeah.
So it's not like there's anything that is, just, hey, let's come back and let's talk to the guy who we killed his mom, wife, and his father. Hey, how you doing? How you doing, man? How's family? How's family?
They're probably in heaven.
Oh, yeah, how's family?
probably
Everybody
in
good?
heaven.
Well, I'm sure you.
Doesn't that give
this
us
is not the end of
leverage?
WWE where you hug each other and say, hey,
Doesn't that give us
fight.
leverage
No.
and say,
If-
listen, we
if
just
you-
took out all your guys. Who's next?
But you don't understand. Like, look, if you were in gangs,
Peru thing?
if you were in gangs, like
Tom was in the Crips with the Bloods?
It's a different way negotiating with the Italian mafia because the Italian mafia was notoriously known for killing each other. Every once in a while, when you went out and you killed other people that were not within, you got in trouble. But the Russian mob doesn't live by your rules.
Yeah.
And neither did MS-13, and neither did the Latin Kings, the way they rolled.
Yep.
Neither to you, just because your mafia runs that way doesn't mean mine has to run that way.
I'm not in a Jewish mafia.
Yeah,
anymore.
I know, but what I'm saying is,
I'm out of that.
what I'm saying is the fact that we have to understand you're negotiating with a very different group of people, and so we'll see what happened here. But let me get into the next thing here. So Tucker does an interview with New York Times, and I ended up watching the whole interview. I actually thought it was a very good interview, and it was very revealing. But one of the clips that went viral was, which clip is this, Rob?
This is the Antichrist comment.
Okay, go for it. So this is, by the way, I had no idea who the interviewer was. I thought she did a great job in the interview. And I thought Tucker was actually revealing with some of the answers that he gave. This was one of the moments that they had. Go ahead and play the clip here, Rob.
You've been talking on your show about whether Trump is the Antichrist.
I have not said that.
On your show, the day after Easter, you noted he did not put his hand on the Bible during his swearing-in
Correct.
ceremony as president, you said, and I'm quoting, maybe he didn't put his hand on the Bible because he affirmatively rejects what's inside that book. And then on a recent show, you went further saying, here's a leader who's mocking the gods of his ancestors, mocking the God of gods, and exalting himself above them. Could this be the Antichrist?
I actually did not say, could this be the Antichrist? Here's a leader who's mocking the gods of his ancestors, mocking the God of gods, and exalting himself above them. Could this be the Antichrist? Well, who knows? I don't know where that comes from, but I know that those words never left my lips because I'm not sure I fully understand what the Antichrist is. If there's just one, I actually tried to understand it. I may have said some are asking that. I'm not weighing in on that because I don't understand it.
Vinny.
Listen, with all due respect, I'm not buying it. That's not some random throwaway line that you get twisted. When you call somebody the Antichrist, I know me. If I called somebody the Antichrist, that gets put in a certain shelf in my head where I go, that's a really, really bold claim. I'm not saying he said he could be the Antichrist. He looked right into the camera and he said it, and that's deliberate, okay? That's not a clip job. You said it. You knew exactly what you were going for, and you know exactly what you were trying to do. And like, my question is this, is if you don't remember, was it written? I know we talked about a little bit earlier, Pat, where you don't think so, but if that's the job, are you just reading off the teleprompter that's in front of the thing? You have to know that you're saying stuff like that. And by the way, this came from a longer podcast from Donald Trump, the president, tweeting the picture of him as Jesus around Easter time, I believe it was, Rob, where he's holding the soldier and doing all that. And then Trump comes out after and says, no, I was portraying myself to be a doctor, which Tucker came out and said, oh, you're lying and not being honest. And then Tucker goes and does the same exact thing that the president was doing. So that's the problem. And now it's out of context. Now it's, I never said that. So you either mean it and now you're walking it back, or you threw it out there for clicks and now you don't want to deal with the blowback. So either way, don't insult people's intelligence. You can't have it both ways. Just I wish, and this is one of the hardest things, but yeah, I'm there at this point in my life. Just admit it. Yes, I said it, and this is what I meant. Just man up. Instead of going, I don't know. Oh, it's out of context. Oh, I don't know. There's many antichrists. Okay, just say it. Say it and man up. I wish he took that route instead of kind of floating around like he did.
Adam.
Tucker Carlson is a jackass. Now, I don't mean it like in the literal sense. I mean it, we're at a time in our lives where people will do anything for attention. So the reason I use the word jackass, remember the show Jackass with Johnny Knoxville and these guys? These guys would do anything and everything to get views, clicks, and likes.
So you think he's saying this just for views?
I'm just saying that that's what people are doing these days.
No, but you're saying that he's just saying this not because he believes it, but because it gets eyeballs.
I'm saying that he's only focused on attention. I'll give you a couple examples. When's the last time that you watched an entire show about Tucker where he didn't mention Israel? It just doesn't happen. Victor David Hansen went and basically did a complete breakdown on Tucker, and he said that 80% of his content, he talks about Israel in his shows. I mean, we talk about Israel, we talk about geopolitics. What percentage do you think we talk about Israel? Even Trump, 10%, 20%? It's all he talks about. So no Jews, no news. But forget about that. He's only doing it for the clicks and the likes and the views. If this were a court of law and he went and took the oath and said, okay, and he goes, yeah, I never said that. And they're like, roll the tape. And it's like, you literally said that right there and there. He'd be found guilty. So don't pull the shaggy defense. It wasn't me. I found him in the bathroom. It wasn't me. It was you. The thing that Tucker may not actually recall is that the internet is forever. You say something, roll the clip, guilty, jail, straight to jail. So I think the challenge that people have to have, and this is my bottom line with Tucker, what was is not what is. What was with Tucker, respected, journalist, conservative, is clearly no longer what is. Rob, do you have that stat that I sent you? A year ago, Tucker in the conservative media was universally respected. This is March of 2024, actually. 2 years ago, among the GOP, plus 54. Universal liked figure. Now, barely above water, plus 7. So don't tell me that Tucker is not either shooting himself in the foot or playing a different game or trying to do this horseshoe theory thing where he thinks he's going to go to a safe space like the New York Times and they're going to be nice to him. Boom, exposed. guilty of lying, straight to jail.
Do you think he knew? Like when he played, I didn't say that. Do you actually think he knew? Like, did he remember? Because it was less than a month ago.
Does he have a working brain? Answer that.
Okay, yeah. So
If you said Trump is the Antichrist
I would-
1 month ago, would you, Vinny Oshana, remember that?
And I would.
Would you say, I don't even recall that?
No. I would say yes.
What are you doing?
I would say yes, and here's why I think.
But
that's why.
Deny when it's on tape. It's like, come on, dude.
Tom, your
Don't
thought.
believe my lying eyes. What are we doing?
Well, I respect the fact that he sat down with someone to have an interview, but we all know nowadays everybody kind of handpicks things, especially when the times get hot, people handpick who they're going to sit down with. And could Tucker not know that these kind of comments are going to come from the New York Times, of all people? He can't not know. But what's interesting is he puts the denial out there, but then what he said was he kind of couched it. Could this be the Antichrist? That's called floating. And then and what did he say at the end of that? Who knows? Is that what he said, Vinny?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
it's
Who
not
knows?
like he came down, doggone it, this guy's the Antichrist. That's different from, could this be the Antichrist? Who knows? What he's doing is it kind of gets couched and people get thinking about it. So
Tom, you don't think he remembers saying that? That's my question.
I think do I think he remembered saying it? How can he not remember?
Okay, so that's the point here.
Well, it's not like he's called. Like it's not like he called them.
But it was a
mean
couch.
guy.
It was a couching, not really a definitive.
No,
fly.
but
whether
let me-
you
let me
couch
tell
it
you-
or not,
let me
he
tell
said
you
it.
what the difference is. Here's the difference. You know when your default in life is when you get pushed in the corner, you go to just a comedian,
Yeah.
right? You know when the default, if you're a person that is acting dumb, like when you're like a player and the girl says, "Hey, what is that? What are you talking about?" Your automatic default is what?
I don't know.
Acting
I have
dumb.
no
I
clue
don't know
what
what
you're
you're
talking
talking
about.
like. You know
I
what
have
I'm
no
saying?
idea.
Like I have no idea what you're talking about, right? So if that's your default, the default just showed up because you're one of the smartest. By the way, if your brain can retain that much information and knowledge, which he can, and then now you're saying you don't remember you saying that, you do. So for me, it's more or less about say what you believe in and let the market decide. It's okay. At least Trump would say what he believed in. Don't beat around the bush. I respect the fact that he is now finally actually calling out the president, but don't then go to New York Times and say, I never said, you did say it, so double down. And explain your position and let the market tear you apart. Like when I make a position, I give the video and I go in the comment section, okay, I got torn apart on this one here, but that's my position. That's where I'm at. This is what I believe in, right? And so, when the president says, yeah, I think we should just take over Greenland, the market says, you're this, he's a dictator, you think you're a king. Okay, let me see what the market is saying. And the people that I respect said what? He said that, can you pull up all you don't think the president has a top 50 names of people that he has a department tracking exactly what they say and he gets a score? Like, Tom, imagine if we're in the White House, what would I be doing? I would say, Tom, these 100 people that we have, we would score every one of the influencers on level of credibility and how fair they are, and we would score them on reason, followership, influence, gamification, manipulation, all of that stuff. But we would score the high reason people.
We'd have a total formula.
And I would say, Tom, the message I just gave right now when I push back on XYZ, what's our score? And you'd come with the business analyst team and you would say, Pat, that score was low for us. Oh, really? What did they say? They didn't like well, I can't change that.
Yeah,
That's really
13
what I
of
believe
the
in.
top 18
exactly.
came out.
Well, you would watch it. So to me, to me, it all comes down to one thing, and that's motive. It's all motive. What is his motive? Because in the interview, the lady asked questions about Fuentes. He didn't want to really get into it. And then at the end, I think he said, I regret interviewing Fuentes, okay? I regret, and I don't think he has that much influence. Sure. The people we have to worry about, he said, is who? Cruz and Huckabee is who we have to worry about. Christian Zionists, which, by the way, I don't have a problem with that because that's his position. If he repeatedly says that, then that's your position. I want to know what your position is. And then a question was asked about J.D. Vance. And that was probably the most sensitive one. Rob, is this the one about J.D. Vance?
Is this where he talks about the treachery that J.D. Vance has been
Yes. And then Rubio and all of that. Go ahead and play this clip. Go for it.
J.D. has been subject to, this is well known, but I'll just confirm it, nonstop treachery from people on the neoconservative side.
Who are these people?
Around Marco Rubio. And they have been totally against J.D. Vance from the very beginning.
Who do you mean specifically?
I don't know is the real answer. I don't know.
You're accusing people of treachery, so I'm wondering.
Well, I know there's been a lot of treachery for sure, and I know they were so mad about JD getting that job. I mean,
who's they within the White House?
She's doing so good.
She's good.
I don't know the answer to that. I've never worked there, so like if you don't work there, you can say you can say what you think you know, but it's hard to really know.
This is me looking skeptical.
Yeah, well, no, it's me being honest. Like I don't really know.
What is her name?
Yeah. So again,
we have her name?
Again, going back to this. And this, by the way, this was a 5 to 10 minute segment about J.D. Vance. I think it's worth watching. And it goes into, do you speak to him? When's the last time you speak to him? He did say that he spoke to Erica Kirk 2 weeks ago in text, but he didn't want to say that he spoke to J.D. Vance and how often. And he says, your son would for him. He says, well, what is your son's position? Ask him. I don't know. He has his own career, things that he wants to do. And so when it came down to this topic, it was probably the most sensitive topic, even more than the Antichrist comment about Trump. Nick Fuentes wasn't that sensitive. He just said, I wish I never interviewed him, even though I think it was probably an interview he should have done. I'm glad they had the conversation because the market needs to know exactly where people stand. The more we talk, the better it is. Yeah, I wish I hadn't done the interview. What I really wanted to talk about was where we're headed in this war with Iran, okay? And so the JD topic is going to be tough. And she said, do you think that's why it's complicated? Because when JD went to negotiate on behalf of U.S. with Iran, that's going to, what was the word she used, Rob? You haven't seen the thing. She said, you think that's going to bold a word about the fact that he's destroyed forever if he runs again. I don't know what a word it was. If you ask it on ChatGPT, she used the word, it's like, I don't know if he's destroyed forever, but it's going to hurt him, something like that. And so very revealing on what was said there in a big way, very revealing on JD. You can tell. And then they talk about a third party. And, what would the party be? I don't even know what the left or the right or Democrat or Republican looks like right now. I don't even know what that is. I think it's, but you could tell he's not a Rubio guy. So a part of this, why the market is very, very important to be looking at right now, Vinny, is seeing what's going on going into 2028. Who's going to be TPUSA's candidate? Is that going to have as much weight as it did in 2024? Like Charlie's endorsement of saying, I support this versus a TPUSA's endorsement. Those are two different things. Do you get what I'm saying, Tom? So imagine it's like Charlie Kirk endorses, Trump. Charlie Kirk endorses Marco Rubio. Charlie Kirk endorses J.D. Vance versus TPUSA endorses J.D. Vance or Rubio. I got a call this weekend, just so you guys know. Open. I had a conversation with one of the members of TPUSA's board. We had a long conversation this weekend because of my comments that I made, and I gave my position to them on the call. It was between us and them, private conversation, and my criticism didn't necessarily change on realizing what's going on, because the question becomes, remember when Charlie told BB, I think you're losing the PR campaign? Do you remember that?
It was in a letter.
It was in a letter, right? I think up until this point, TPUSA is losing the PR campaign. I think TPUSA is losing the PR campaign. And you have to either adjust the strategy, you have to do something differently. But all of this going into 2028, it's an interesting thing. It's an interesting thing with Tucker. And by the way, you know what else could happen? If say there is a slight rift, by the way, and when he asked about Don Jr., he says, look, Don and I, we don't talk politics. We just share common views when it comes down to hunting. It was a great moment. It's like, hey, because you know why I like moments like that? I criticized Tucker in a video a couple of weeks ago. My position hasn't changed either, because we've been around the block long enough and we know how it is when things get nasty. I know in politics, when wars happen in politics, it's very nasty. You know why? Because somebody will sit around and call everybody to bash you and use propaganda to undermine you. And that is the game here that happens in every industry, except in politics, it's more, heavier and stronger than anything else. The only difference is, which puts us in a very unique spot, is we don't need anybody's money. We don't. We don't need anybody's money.
You mean?
VT doesn't need anybody's money.
Thank you for that.
We don't need anybody's money. You know, we sponsorship. How many sponsorship reasons? All he wants to do is sell his shoes. Yeah, you want me to sell my own shoes and make sure I'm beholden to my shoe boss? Hey, you get this,
your shoe
or else, because these shoes are from this. You know, oh my God, all he does is connect. What do you want me to promote? So I'm beholden to my risking our own money, right? So that's the part where long term, there's going to be some interesting moves taking place. And by the way, for those of you guys that are doing the survey, I'm looking at the number right now, which I freaking love. 300 and exact 17 of you have already done the survey in the first 30, 40 minutes of us announcing this. Those of you guys that go a little bit more thorough on the questions that we ask, that unpack, explain, we may call you because we want to talk to you and go a little bit deeper into it. Again, anybody that goes and does the survey, $25 gift card goes to vtmerch.com to go purchase whatever you want, and you'll be able to use $25 towards it. So going back to this conversation, I think this is all great going into 2028. I think you have to pay very close attention on what alliances are being created. I like the fact that this interview was done. I'm glad he agreed to do this interview because it kind of was like an opening on who's supporting who, who's going to be working with who. And by the way, what's the month right now? What are we, May 4th? May 4th, which, you know, we celebrated Vinny's birthday. Mario's birthday and Danny's birthday and a bunch of other people's
birthday. Today's my
birthday.
grandma's birthday. I know everybody's
Really?
94.
Today's your grandma's birthday, so happy birthday
to you,
to her.
Grandma.
But this is all going because 2027, 2028 election is going to come like this.
I just want to ask you a question. Something you said, talked about credibility, and obviously this is Tucker's credibility score on screen right now. I think there's a credibility problem. But I want to ask you something. You said something about if you're going to say something, own it. So you just said that you had a call with the TPUSA people, Turning Point.
Yes.
You made some comments about Erica being CEO. You just said, yeah, that's what I said. You know, you were asked, I think, with John Kiriakou or whatever about Reza Pahlavi. You're like, yeah, I said that. Straight up. Yeah, Ron DeSantis. Yeah, I said that. Do you ever recall something that you said, you're like, no, I never said that? Like,
No,
why would someone do that?
Not,
I never said that.
Not said, by the way, if you forget, great, hold me accountable. I said, okay, great. Yeah, I said that. I don't recall that, but I don't want to play the game up because I'm so, what do you call it, righteous, and I don't make mistakes like that. That's not what I'm saying.
You're owning what you said.
I know. But what I am saying is I have had my opinions change on issues where I'm like, ooh, that's interesting what they're saying there. You know what? That's a good point when it comes onto crony capitalism on what happens with these other guys. You're right, because some of these guys that are making it harder for the smaller guy to compete, I'm not with that. I don't want the smaller guy. We had a guy a person that came here to us last week on Business Wednesday, and he was fully supportive of NATO in a massive way. And I've had a conversation with 3 different people that I don't agree with everything they say. Susan Kokinda, one of the best conversations. She gave a complete different angle I never thought about. I was like, very interesting. Who has been at this intelligence business longer than anybody else? MI6, the Brits. These guys are the professionals. They train everybody. They train Mossad. They train CIA. They trained, Iran Savak. Savak was trained by MI6.
Oh, really?
And now you want, yeah. So she gave that angle. And then we had the Robert Pape, which is going to come out. And he says Trump's losing. So that angle. And then we had the Asian guy, the guy, the Jiang.
Professor.
The Jiang guy. And then I had who's the governor from Maryland that's running? Wes Moore. Conversation, great conversation. That's going to, I think this is good. But you have to realize, like the market. For instance, Vivek. If you looked at the numbers a year ago, Vivek was supposed to be the governor of Ohio, right? And now people can say a lot of different things. Well, it's the H-1B visa tweet that happened. That was a falling out. It's why he left Doge. And I think he was going to run for governor no matter what, okay? No, it's the video clip of what he said about Christians and how he defined Christians and Jesus and all that other stuff. And, and now you look at the numbers from 75% to 60% to 50% to now the Democratic Party more likely to win Ohio than the Republican Party. Republican Party is Vivek. And look, I'm rooting for Vivek to win because the last 8 presidents, according to what Tom just said right before the podcast, and Rob, if you can validate this, the last 8 presidents that became presidents, they won Ohio. Oh. Trust me, you want Vivek to win. But, the question becomes, how do you look at that, Rob?
Rob, I sent you the link in the chart. You have it. There it is. Except 2020, since 1980, Ohio elects the president.
Tom, since that's even more than 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12. Out of the last 12 presidential winners, 11 out of 12, we won Ohio. You lose Ohio, you lose the presidency. 88% chance.
We all know
90% chance.
I think there's been a discussion or two about 2020.
Yeah. So exactly. That's a good point. So the 2020 is the one that could be the wild card. So essentially, some could even say it's 12 out of 12. So to me, Vivek made this comment that's been circulating recently. Rob, if you want to play this clip, and I have my thoughts on this. Here's Vivek explaining Jesus Christ, okay, who he is.
So I'll be very honest. It's not a hard question at all. So in our faith tradition, Jesus Christ is a son of God. I know that is different than saying he's the son of God. But that is my view of Jesus Christ. He's got our family. Do we worship in churches? Yes, we do. Is that compatible with our faith? Yes, it is. One true God in many forms. So that's different, and I understand that.
That is different. The only way to heaven is through Jesus Christ.
I think that is the path. That is a path to heaven is the way we look at it. But belief in God is what we say. Yeah. Belief in the one true God. That's the way I look at it.
By the way, this isn't recent. He said this a while ago. Rob, when did he actually say this? This could have even been a year and a half ago. This could have been a year ago, maybe even 2 years ago. When we had him at our town hall, remember when one of the guys got up at the town hall? No, it was a lady that asked him. The lady got up and said, what's your position with Jesus and what's your position with... And he gave that answer very eloquently. And guess what? You know what I liked about Vivek? He gave his answer September 20. By the way, that was almost 3 years ago. Jeez. From what he said in Iowa. Okay. So, that's what he believes in. That's what he believes in. He gave that answer where he's at. Now, the question becomes, is that going to hurt his chances of winning governor for the state of Ohio? I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen there. I don't know if this is the reason why he's not going to get elected. I will tell you, if you have to choose a Vivek, smart guy, sharp guy, who is one of those fighters, tough guys, brilliant guy, I think sometimes his challenge is, you know what's Vivek's challenge is sometimes? He is so smart and brilliant that the average person that listens to him, you feel dumb sometimes. Mm-hmm. You know, when he speaks, you're like, oh, my God, this guy wrote a thesis on that issue that happened, right? Where Trump speaks, you know what you feel like when Trump speaks?
One of the boys is talking.
He's like, hey, it's just one of me. I'm just talking to a regular guy.
Him the blue-collar billionaire.
That's right. So the blue-collar So, I think it's too late to make these types of adjustments anyways, but the market is going to react. And where Ohio goes is where presidency goes. So if Republicans are sitting there saying, but let me tell you, Vivek this, but let me tell you, Vivek that, but let me tell you, Ohio loses, Newsom's your president. Flat out.
Well, wake up, Ohio.
Ohio loses, Newsom is your president. And by the way, you may want that. You may want that. You may be saying, that's exactly what I want. I want Republicans to lose and Democrats to win for them to learn how much power we got. Maybe. Sure. And maybe that's your position. I can tell you what happens if these guys take over. Have you been seeing what's going on to New York? Have you been watching what's going on in
Texas?
I
would love to see Vivek do a debate against Mamdani. I would love that.
Well, that's not going to happen. But Tom, your thoughts on this as a Christian man yourself. Here's a guy who's given his position. How do you process it?
So I'm familiar with faiths, and I don't dive into a deep analysis of it. He's Hindu. Hindu believes that there's one big creator God and does not believe that Jesus Christ is the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father but through me. That's the Christian point of view. So it doesn't surprise me. So on one side, I say, hey, he's Hindu, and he's not trying to hedge his bet. You know what I mean, Vinny? If he was trying to say, well, I'm Hindu, and he was trying to spin into the Christian, I would say, dude, wait a minute. You're Hindu. You believe in one God. So don't tell me that you're trying to do this. I think he was being straight up about his feelings with that guy, whether it was 2 years ago or 3 years ago. Now, the problem is what, Pat, you just said, I think is exactly Vivek's problem. When he overanalyzed Americans, well, American kids are playing football and doing this and that, while other kids, like Indian kids, are studying math or in math clubs, he touched a red line there. And the red line was, you kind of went after Americana kind of accidentally by overanalyzing. And so as a man of faith, I appreciate that he's a man of faith. I don't agree with Hinduism, but I believe he's been presenting it authentically for his point of view, and I don't think he's spinning, so I wasn't offended by that.
Yeah, no, we've spent a lot of time with the guy. We went to every single debate. We watched every one of the debates. you know, he's gonna be a very, very good fighter for 99% of the values you agree with. 95% of values you agree with. Does he have to make some adjustments on messaging and all that stuff? Yes. Is he kind of being authentic and straight up by giving you what he believes in? I think so. You want to lose this guy? I don't know. I don't know. I would much rather have him as one of the guys. He would not even be a team of a rival. Vinny, where are you at with this? What are you thinking here?
I love how you guys broke it down. I mean, I personally don't like, me and Humberto have talked, we talked about this. This is a Christian nation. To me, to be the president, you'd have to be Christian. That's why I always said, by the way, all respect for him. He's freaking awesome. I love being around him. I love the way he speaks so eloquently. But at the end of the day, Christian nation, I want a Christian president. I know sometimes we haven't got them. Obama, possibly Trump, whatever. That aside, and you guys made a good point. Just in that moment, he could have just said, no, listen, I'm a Hindu. We have a different belief, but I'm not going to try to hinder anything that's already happening. This is a Christian nation. I'm not going to put any policies. I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to do what, mind you, think about the Hindu religion compared to what Islam and what Mamdani is doing outside prayer, forcing this stuff on people. I would have just said that. I'm not going to try to change anything, but this is a bigger picture that we have to look at. Hopefully he'll become the governor. Pat, this is a bigger fight, okay? He loses, we lose the presidency. That's a whole different situation. At least he's being honest and he's saying his thing. You guys know where I'm at. I'm with Tom. I know who Jesus Christ is. I know exactly what he was here for and what he did, and he saved us. But I really hope that people could say, okay, he's a Hindu. He's not trying to change anything. We need him to win instead of a Democrat. Adam. Plain and simple.
When we fight over faith, guess what? We forget about who's the best candidate for jobs, education, welfare, immigration, the economy, interest rates. He wins 6-0 on just that list versus Amy Acton.
Yeah.
And here we're about to let another Democratic socialist in the door. Yeah. So it's like maybe if they get us fighting over Vivek and his faith stance, they're the ones that are laughing.
Yeah, exactly.
Adam.
I think Vivek is great. I think, I don't know if he's going to be capable of winning the United States presidency. I don't know that. I think I said that to his face. I said, I don't know if a brown Hindu guy is going to be president of the United States, but I do think that he could still win Ohio. What I'll tell you is this: America is a Christian country, and we do need to have Christian values or Judeo-Christian biblical values at the center of society, or society will crumble. At the same time, we're a big tent in America. Just because we're a Christian country doesn't mean we can't have people of all shapes, sizes, faith, religions, beliefs be a part of it. Yes, he's Hindu. I believe that Hindus believe there's many paths to God. Live righteous, be a good person. They believe in karma. They believe in reincarnation. They believe in spirituality. Major respect. But you want to know what I respect about Vivek? Which, I'll circle back to what we were talking about with Tucker. Why I don't respect Tucker? Because he owns it. He said, listen, man, I'm Hindu. Respect to you. Respect if you're Christian. Respect if you're Muslim. Respect if you're Jewish. Respect to whatever you are. I respect everyone's religion. But this is what I believe. And I'm telling you what I believe and owning it. Not saying, well, I never said that Jesus is a son of God. He owns his statements. And that's ultimately what this comes down to, credibility. You might not believe or agree with what he says, but he has the balls and the courage to say, yes, I said that. I have a major issue with people who say, I've never said that. And back to one thing you said, Pat. You said opinions change. You said, maybe I'll adjust my opinion. You talked about crony capitalism, what have you. Of course, as you should, because you're reasonable and you use your brain. And you say, you know what, my opinions change. Can you imagine me saying at this point, Pat, no, I never voted for Biden. I never, that wasn't me. It's like, buddy, we have you on film saying you voted for Biden. But that's the biggest problem, is if you're going to stand for something, stand for it. And if you're going to change your opinion, at least give people the response of, this is why I changed my opinion. But don't flip the script and act like we don't notice.
But you said I'm sorry, there's no way a brown Hindu guy would be president. Barack was a black unlikely Muslim, and he won the presidency. So I
don't like what you're doing right there. No. He's not Muslim. I do understand.
Barack Hussein Obama is not. You think he's a Christian?
Well, he says he's a Christian.
When was that? Can we fact check?
He would go to church in Chicago.
Adam, guess what? Everybody can walk into a church and go to a funeral.
For years.
But
he says he's a Christian. He put his hand on the Bible. I get that he sounds like a Muslim.
I don't believe it.
Barack Hussein Obama. I get that.
I don't believe it.
But I mean, so at this point, we're not even arguing facts. We're just arguing distortions of reality.
I don't know.
He says he's a Christian. Do I think that he's been weak on Christianity and been more pro-Muslim? Yes, but he says he's Christian.
The guy that he's running against, Sherrod Brown, if you want to pull this up, 70-something years old.
Sherrod Brown in Ohio. Former senator.
Sherrod Brown. He is who he's running against. Isn't this
that's
the
who it
leading
is?
candidate?
No, he's a Democrat.
Of course. Vivek's going up against Sherrod Brown.
No, meaning that he still needs to get out of the primary is what you're saying.
Who am I talking about?
Vivek needs to get out of the primary.
No, this is the guy that they're saying is going to be the leading candidate for governor for Ohio.
Ohio, out of the Democratic side of things.
Yes.
Vivek out of the Republican.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So this guy, he started, by the way, he's been in politics since he was 21 years old. Okay. So he's a career politician, not a border guy, just so you know that. He studied Russian affairs. Like his degree was, he's one of those guys that's like a Bernie, not a border.
He's like a blue collar Bernie.
But he's also in Ohio, so you got a guy that he's going up against. So this could be your guy, okay? This could be your guy. So you may not know the name right now, Sherrod Brown.
No, he's a guy. He was a senator for
decades.
decades.
You will definitely. But if a guy from Ohio goes and beats Vivek, you better believe you're going to know this face and this name in 2027, 2028, because he knows if Ohio wins, the liberal candidate becomes the president of the United States. So this guy, get used to this name and face if he wins. If he wins. So for me, if I have to agree with the policies that Vivek's got and then you disagree on faith, that's where your choice comes in. And says, America ready for somebody like him to become a governor? You're going to want a fighter like that because as this thing's going in a different direction, you're going to want different looking Avengers to fight. And he's a very important role, in my opinion, for the Avengers to fight, even though he had a couple mishaps in his campaign. So let's go to the next story. Next story I want to get to is Daily Wire. So story comes out, and everybody is in the market. The moment something bad happens, they're losing, they're doing this, they're doing that. Oh, we're killing it. Let me tell you how many subscribers. We're doing so well. So, when you're doing great, you brag. But when you have a setback, the market's going to criticize you as well. And that's part of capitalism and how it works, and you have to kind of take it. So, Rob, what numbers do we have? Which one is this? So Daily Wire's hit with layoffs across a number of teams, largely from their Nashville headquarters. This is what page 31, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Page 33. Let me go to it and read some of the numbers to you. And then, Vinny, I'm going to come to you on this one here first. So Daily Wire has been hit with another round of layoffs, okay? There's a couple stats. This article I can read, Rob. I'm more interested in reading the stats because the stats I'm reading about is 50%, 60%, 85%. They went from 200 employees to losing 100 employees, in the Nashville office. And so today, the Daily Wire made a difficult decision to restructure the organization, which included layoffs of a number of teams. Spokesperson said, "We are deeply grateful to those impacted. Their contributions were instrumental in the building of Daily Wire into what it is today." The statement continued, "The cuts were largely concentrated at our Nashville production office as the company has invested in new formats, locations, and production models. Our footprint as the company has invested in there has evolved. Over the last year, we have added production staff in D.C., the Northeast, and Florida. The step allows us to focus our resources on an ambitious slate of new entertainment projects set to be released later this year. Additionally, we will continue to invest in our editorial team and investigative journalism, where we have already added numerous new reporters across the country and established a D.C. bureau with a seat in the White House briefing room. Cameron Arcana, a political reporter for the site, was affected by a round of cuts. He posted about the layoffs on social media on Friday. "Hey, friends, tough news to share. I was impacted by the layoffs today at Daily Wire, so I'm looking for opportunities in journalism, communication here in D.C." Candace said, who worked at the company until 2024, commented on the layoffs. She hinted that at least 50% of the company staff was affected. That has yet to be confirmed. Hearing that Daily Wire laid off over 50% of their staff today, as much as I positively despise what their executives put me and my family through, there are a lot of good people at the company. Brent Shared, the editor-in-chief from Daily Wire, refuted this claim and others similar on X. "Yes, the company has had layoffs. It's always rough. No, it is not nearly at 50% of the company. That's insane, and also insane to post without verifying." Vinny.
I mean, Pat, this is what happens when your whole company is built on personalities, and then you forget they have a massive audience. Like, you fire them or they just leave, a big chunk of that audience is going with them. And at one point, Ben Shapiro was pulling 170 million views a month.
Go on that, Rob. Go on that
YouTube.
Tweet. Oh, you have the chart that shows the clips. Oh, go ahead.
It was massive. It was massive. And then post October 7th, a lot of things changed. He got a lot more aggressive, going after anyone not lining up with his stance on Gaza. That shift alone starts narrowing the audience, and you create tension inside the company. Then long after that, Candace Owens gets fired, whether you agree with her or not. That move sends a message, okay? You're not just losing a voice. You're pushing out someone who built a real audience underneath your umbrella. Same pattern with Brett Cooper. She left. Different situation, same result. Her whole entire audience left with her. You know what I'm saying? So instead of locking in on what already worked, they tried doing this whole thing into something conservative. They tried doing like a conservative Disney. They did studio, movies, kid content, streaming products, everything at once. Sounds great until it doesn't work. Okay, you can't run a newsroom, a film studio, a kid platform, a product line all at once unless you have endless money and you have serious discipline. And they stretch themselves thin, chasing everything instead of just dominating the lane that they already own. They had a couple of wins. I think Matt Walsh, Rob, I think the racist one did very, very well. His documentary, really, really good numbers. But most of those big wins, Pat, they didn't land. Then Jeremy Boring steps down. That's not stability. That's cracks starting the show. And as my friend Thomas the Biz Doc Ellsworth says, words talk, numbers scream, and these numbers scream. You went from 170 million views to 22 million views. You know this, guys. That's not a dip. That's a collapse. And they're still carrying the same heavy operation built that when things were booming. So here's the truth. The brand matters, but the connection people have is with the person. That's what keeps them watching. So when those voices leave or get pushed out or fired because they don't agree with the boss and they can't have a debate, the big piece of that audience goes with them. So that's how you end up with a company that looked like $1 billion machine, but it's, leaning heavy on the people carrying it.
Adam.
Look, this thing comes down to one word, and that's Ben. Ben Shapiro is the face of the Daily Wire, and they have incredible talent. I think Matt Walsh is an incredible talent. I think Michael Knowles is a very likable, smart guy. They have their whole crew over there, respect to what they've done. Obviously, when Ben stood up for Israel against Hamas, that showed cracks in the system. So I'll ask you one question. Did the Daily Wire change, or did the consumer media landscape change? What do you think the answer is? I don't think the Daily Wire changed at all. I think they've stood for exactly what they've stand for as a group collectively, and the market has changed. If you look at the Israel approval ratings, there's a direct correlation to how Americans and the world feel about Israel fighting this war in Gaza and against Iran to how Daily Wire subscriptions go. Now, if you ask me, hey, Ben, if you had the chance to do it all over again, fire Candace, go against Tucker, defend Turning Point USA, defend Israel, would you do it all over again? Do you know what I think his answer would be? 1,000,000%. Because to me, this is not about likes, views, clicks. Even when he attacked Megyn Kelly, he said, stand for something. Even if he loses subscribers, even if he loses viewership, it doesn't matter to him. I'll ask you a question. If all of a sudden capitalism wasn't that cool, and we do fear that communism had taken over America, and we saw that the media landscape and the consumers were like, I don't know, we're kind of into this socialism thing. Do you think we'd give 1 inch to that? We would double down on capitalism. So when you believe in something, you stick with it. And I think that's what he's doing.
Well, I have a couple observations, and one of them, I was trying to find the numbers over the weekend because I didn't want to hang my hat on a number that was incorrect. So Pat, you and I always talk. When you say they, say who they is. If you say a lot, say a number and do your research and put it up. So what do we know? That they spent millions of dollars on Bent Key, didn't work, and then they canceled. Okay, so wow, an entrepreneur started a product, they spent a bunch of money on it, it didn't work, and the board at the same time, coincidentally, not coincidentally, March of last year, I think it's been over a year since Jeremy Boring stepped down as CEO, and they say, okay, maybe that didn't work. Well, look, Meta, they tried to do the metaverse, and they spent billions of dollars into a hole. That didn't work either. So you see things like that, you say, wow, maybe that affected your cash reserves. But what was very interesting to me, can you go back to the ratings, the chart that Vinny was talking about, the kind of the green? Yeah, Pat, take a look at this. Most media companies, and I looked at this weekend, most media companies, 2024 from January to October was like fantastic, and they were up. Why? It was the election show. They're talking primaries. They're talking states. They're talking, just Trump really back? No, we're going to go with Kamala. Is Biden, did he write the letter? Didn't he write the letter? Remember all that? Look at this. If this is correct from this group, then the Daily Wire viewership was going down into an election cycle, where most of the podcasts and the media kind of went up into an election cycle. So I thought that was kind of interesting difference that they experienced, and those are my observations.
Yeah. So my thoughts here on this story here. Number one, running a business is very hard. And running a business that's a public business is even harder. And then running a business where the face of the business has an opinion is even 10 times harder, okay? So in this case, the guy that, when you think about Daily Wire, who's the face of Daily Wire? Ben Shapiro. Guess what? You know, it comes with the territory. You can't be upset about it. But, you know, one thing with him, I don't think, you know, he's not a sensitive guy that is going to be affected by it. I will tell you a couple feedback here. When did Jeremy Boring step down, Rob? What was
a year ago?
I think it was March.
March of last year?
Yeah.
Okay. So,
I believe so.
By the way, this makes Jeremy Boring look good. This makes Jeremy Boring look good because this says the creative guy was gone. Love him or hate him, you know, he at least maybe was the creative guy that was doing stuff, okay? He was a guy that was going out there doing if you have to say naturally who was more funny, Ben Shapiro or Jeremy Boring.
Jeremy Boring.
It's not even
Not
close,
Ben.
right? No, it's not.
Ben.
But I'm going to tell you.
Smarter.
I'm going to tell you. No,
Ben.
that's not the conversation.
Genius.
Smart, yeah. So the rebranding of Ben has been, let's try to see if he's funny and let's make him be funny and doing all this stuff. I don't think it's working. The rebranding of trying to attack and the way they do with Candace, the way they're doing, I also don't think that's working, okay? I don't think that's working. I think if Ben went on the road and did some of the stuff with campuses and schools and stuff like that, I think they can bring that eyeball back up again because he's phenomenal with that, being on the road and talking to kids. And, you know, he's one of the OG guys who did this. Him, Crowder, this is way before anybody else was doing it.
Even
That's kind of how they build it.
Yeah.
Even before Charlie, yeah. So I think he can get back into it. Does he want to do it or not? Probably security, his family. People are probably saying no. I think he's got 3 or 4 kids. So he's a family guy as well. I don't think that's going to be happening. And then, you know, last but not least is I do believe, you know, they may have tried to sell a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, and the numbers were higher. It's like, hey, let's go to the market because they went from Fox News' enemy to Fox isn't an enemy, and maybe we team up together, and maybe Fox acquires us, and we go under them. And I don't know if that went through or not. Okay, go back up there, Rob. What does it say? Shapiro solicits backers or buyers for build-out Daily Wire. What's the date on this? Yeah, a year ago. I've spoken to a few different people. That's when they was on the market. We had some interesting conversations with a few people. Tom, you remember this one? Some people came in and they asked us about our interest about, you know, some different moves. But, you know, this is the part about business. You know, we sold a week before money being cheap. A week before money went up in prices, Vinny. And sometimes, like, that's not like, oh, my God, you guys were such geniuses. No, we got lucky. I mean, I'm being serious with you. It's very easy to say, let me tell you how brilliant we are. No, it was just timing. Because then all of a sudden, boom, rates went up. And then companies are like, time out. We're not making any acquisitions the way we were. So our timing, of course, the company is, you know, worth way more than what we sold today. The EBITDA is much higher. The company is happy. Everything ended up working out. But a part of it is also timing of when you drop and you move on. So repositioning, remessaging, and see if the market, you know, is turned on by it or not. And then you got to go from there. But this is not and by the way, CBS is having a hard time right now.
Of course they are.
It's not like CBS is like winning. CBS is getting criticized. So let me get this straight. The 60 Minutes person that's doing the interview, what's her name? Leslie Stahl, is a Jew, reporting to a Jew and working for a Jew, right? So now guess
That's
what?
right.
And
We're
by
gonna
the
own
way,
your ass.
And FYI.
I knew it.
None of that is wrong. None of that is wrong. So Leslie Stahl, where is Leslie Stahl's family from? I don't know. Is Leslie Stahl Jewish, Rob? I don't know. Leslie Stahl, where's her family from? Do we know her family?
Yeah, Jewish family.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
So she's Jewish. Who she reports to, Barry Weiss, is Jewish.
Who bought the company?
Who bought the company is David Ellison and Larry Ellison, who's Jewish.
Yeah.
So guess what? Go ahead. How do you fix that?
Yeah.
Go ahead and change the messaging. You have to find a way to go through. So I'm not going to watch CBS because I know what these guys are trying to do. This is a very, very, very weird time to be in a media space.
There's a
very weird time to be in a media business. It's going to be very difficult. It's going to be very challenging. And you're better off building on systems instead of personalities, because if you only build it on personalities, they're going to go, they're going to leave, they're going to do this. And look what happened. Candace, boom, Brett Cooper, and then Jordan Peterson's going through some challenges. Hopefully he feels better. I saw the Michaela Peterson that put a clip about it. Of course, Jordan Peterson at one point played a very, very important role for young men in America. And we heard some news with Rudy Giuliani is also not feeling good. I hope he recovers. He was one of the biggest fighters in America we ever had. He cleaned up the streets of New York. No matter how much people say stuff about Giuliani, our prayers are with him and his family, and I hope they go through it, make it through. But this game of media is not for everybody. It's nasty, it's ugly, and you have to change your approach or the reasoning for it. The other day I went to Publix. Early in the morning I went to Publix because we didn't have mushrooms. And Jen's like, "You're really going to Publix?" I said, "Babe, the way I make my omelet, both me and Tico like it with this mushroom."
Yeah.
So I go to Publix. And by the way, when I go to Publix, 7 o'clock, 6:30 in the morning, whatever time is, I'm dressed like I just got up. I'm not fixing my hair or anything. So I go, oh my God, guy pulls up. I'm like, oh shoot, what? And I didn't have my, I wasn't carrying. So guy comes up, he's giving me a hug, and when he's hugging me, I'm just watching his hands, because there's different kind of hugs. I'm like, hey,
hit him with
hey. You're like hugging a
buddy.
No, but you know what I'm saying when you're hugging somebody with the hands, like, oh, good. By the way, he stays with me for 10 minutes. Every aisle we went, he's following me. He says, why'd you start a podcast? I noticed you're doing a lot of podcasts. Why do you do the podcast? What nice guy. Yeah. Well, why are you doing a podcast? You're a guy that's successful. Is it that important? Why is it so important? Your strategy for running your media company may have to adjust instead of the traditional way of doing it to get sponsorship money. And if you make the right adjustments, maybe you win long term. If you don't and you bring personalities nowadays, no matter the moment you bring in, there's everybody in their ear saying, hey, you should do this, you should do that, you should do that. So this constantly gets people to not be able to retain. So kudos to Knowles and Walsh and all those guys for being there, because they get so much pressure every day for leaving. And so I don't know what's going to happen.
I mean, for staying.
Yeah, for staying, yeah. So they're constantly getting criticized to leave. Hey, why aren't you leaving and doing your own thing? But this is a very tough business. We're going to see this thing over and over again with stories.
It's a tough business. Let me ask you one thing, Pat. There's only a few people that I'd put in this category of Ben Shapiro, meaning you're the owner, operator, founder. You're also the main talent. I think you're in that category, obviously. I think someone like Dave Portnoy is in that category. The Tuckers of the world, the Candaces of the world are quickly finding out it's hard to be the owner, operator, talent. We'll see what happens. But here's my biggest thing. If you listen to the voices that, choose your enemies wisely, he's made Candace an enemy. He's made Tucker an enemy. To an extent, he's made Megyn Kelly. What happened? But look at what his enemies are saying. Tucker is calling Trump the Antichrist, and then forget he said that. Candace is telling people in the military, just unlist from the army, a dishonorable discharge, don't die for Israel. Okay, that's at the very least un-American. You have Nick Fuentes, who's basically saying, go vote Democrat. And I'll ask you this initial question. What has changed from the perspective, not the business model, the perspective from what you're hearing from the Daily Wire? Because I would argue nothing's changed. They're doubling down on what they've always done. Do you think they should change, or should they stay the way they are personality-wise and content-wise? I'm not saying business perspective. Or do they stick to their morals and their values and say, no, this is what we stand for. We're not gonna listen to you trash Turning Point USA or an Erica Kirk or basically say this
let me tell you this, though. Let me tell you how this works. One day I'm in Atlanta, and I'm talking to this other guy, and the company has pinned us against each other. I'll give you the dates. It's probably like, October of 2008. And this is not a guy I trust. Shady guy. He got promoted and demoted 3 times. But I got along with everybody, including this guy. But I knew who he was, and he knew who I was. Both of us knew we're players. This guy ended up making $10 million a year. Very, very good at what he does, but not my kind of guy. It's the kind of guy that looks at you, says stuff, and then behind your back says stuff. And when I sold the company, he came here, tried to get me to help him out. I'm like, listen, I don't play these big shot bullshit games. Never responding back to his texts, nothing, because To my face, he would compliment. Behind my back, he would go out there and try to destroy.
Fake friend.
I don't do that kind of stuff at all. And by the way, I wish him nothing but the best. He knows who he is. They're going to share this video with him, and he'll see it. He knows exactly what my position is. The moment you did that one thing, you lose me permanently. I don't play games. But I'm going to tell you what happened. When we were at this event, he says, my style is, I destroy you, and then we become friends. And then when I'm bigger than you, then we become friends.
What the hell's that?
So he said this to me, and it's like, hey, we should start
Said that
doing
to your face.
Yeah. But he's talking about other people, but I get what he's saying. He says, we should do events together. I'm like, I'll never do events with you. But the reason why I didn't want to do events with him is because I knew he would brainwash and confuse others and divide. I don't play those games. I understand deception very quickly when people try to play games. It's very obvious, very effective. I've read all the power books, 40 Laws of Power, Art of War, 33 Strategies of War, the Rings. You read any of these stuff on manipulation and power, I read them because I knew what. By the way, I gave one of our guys in the company was using 40 Laws of Power against our guys. You know what? I made the book of the month the next month. I had everybody in the company read 40 Laws of Power so nobody could do it.
Flip the script.
I said, everybody read 40 Laws of Power so nobody can manipulate against you. But you know what happened? Here's the challenge, Adam. If we come up and behind closed doors, I'm constantly trying to destroy your career in media, and you're an 18-year-old kid, 19-year-old kid, and I'm telling everybody how bad you are, that may work on 99% of 18, 19-year-old kids. They can destroy their career, and then comes the one guy. And the one guy you don't F with. So if you came up in any business, including media, and behind closed doors, you made the phone calls because you have access to those guys to destroy their careers, I'm not with that either. So I'm not saying that's what they did. I haven't been around the game long enough to know what everybody did. I do know this is a very nasty, nasty game, and I would size everybody up when I would talk to them. We're new in this space. It's not like we've been in this space for a long time. And I don't even know if you understand what I just said right now. Some people did understand exactly what I just said right now.
I'm reading between the lines.
If you came up and you intentionally used your power to destroy people's career, F you. If you did that. Because if that's how you win, you deserve everything that's coming your way because that's how capitalism works. You can't do that.
Sure.
The way to compete is beat me. Out-message me. What did Biden's administration do? Hey, silence those YouTube channels.
Of course.
What did Fauci and those guys do on COVID? Hey, silence those guys. I remember there was a guy named Dr. Mike. I'm like, hey, come on. Yeah, for sure. 3 times he's agreed and then cancels. Why not? Yeah. Next week he has Fauci on. Oh, you can because I'm going to talk to you about Fauci? And who was telling you and we were getting strikes? So if you played those games, don't think it only happens on the liberal side. Mm-hmm. If conservatives do it, I'm not with that either. I'm with arguments. Like I enjoyed watching Tucker's interview with New York Times. I don't agree with him. I've already called him out. I said what my position is, but I actually enjoyed the interview. Why? Because I'm watching the game, how it's being played, and I want to know people's position so we can adjust accordingly on what we're doing. So no, I'm not part of the. As much as people are like, you know what? All the death threats I got for interviewing Bibi and Nick Fuentes, who the hell had both of them on within 30 days?
Nobody. I
enjoyed both their conversation. I wish I had an hour and a half with Bibi. Why? Because last minute, you remember what happened last minute? We're on the other side of the building. Last minute, he wants to start earlier. Got 30 minutes. I'm like, dude, I thought I had an hour. Mm-hmm. Do you remember this when we had to come out and I don't know. Yes. You were in the room as well. Yeah. We started 15 minutes early. I was supposed to go. I'm like, that threw my calendar off, and I couldn't really get into these. But the market doesn't know. This is not their fault. They're supposed to criticize. Yep. But if you came up and you used your card to do that, I don't play that game.
I know.
I don't play that game. Well, I don't. And by the way, you and I could agree together politically, and I still don't play that game. Mm-hmm. I still don't play that game because, you know, my daughter's at, and I'm going to get to the next stories. We got so many stories. I don't want to stay on the story for too long.
Okay.
I'm getting Brooklyn to get in the habit of, you know, what are the 4 things we do as a family? Read, respect, improve, love. Do we bully? No. Do we get bullied? No. Okay, what are the 3 things we pray for? Courage, wisdom, tolerance. You know, courage, wisdom, understanding. Great. You know, I, Brooklyn Ivy Bay David. Brooklyn Ivy will one day be a great leader. I'm in that phase with her because she's 4 years old. I haven't had to do this because Senna's 9, about to be 10. So I'm shaping her. She's like, I don't want to ride. Let me just watch. No, go do your steps. And she has to do these steps, exercise every morning. And then she has to go write the letters. Oh, Daddy, please. I don't want to do please. I'm like, baby, as cute as you are, you have to write it. You're not going to get nothing with Daddy. I love you so much. I don't want to write lead 10 times. Write lead 10 times. So she writes. I'm like, dude, that's great. Good. And we're going back and forth. But if the one thing in our family, we don't bully and we don't get bullied. And the market is filled with a lot of bullies, and some of them that are covert bullies. You know what the covert bully is? Do you know what I'm talking about? Like the guy that's
behind
angle. Heavenly Father.
Like China.
And then you're doing this?
Yeah.
You especially are the kinds I don't like.
Well,
because I like bullies like this. Okay? Like Trump's this kind of a bully. But there's some deceptive games bully. I don't do that. And you know, we try not to touch a lot of different positions. Anyways, I'm going to move on because we'll be in this topic here for another 45 minutes. All right. So let's get into Spirit. Is it Spirit Airlines? Am I saying it correctly?
Yes.
Or Spirit Airlines, right? Spirit Airlines.
I know you fly Spirit all the time. That's why you were forgetting
What's
the name.
funny is I have. I just haven't recently, but I have. So Spirit Airlines, story comes out, and Tom, I'm coming to you first with this one, and then Vinny, please contact your folks because we need your analysis. So Spirit Airlines comes out with this story that they are shutting down. Wait a minute, what? Shutting down. How many jobs? 15,000. You're kidding me. No. Democrats come out. Because of gas prices, Spirit is shutting down. This is all on Trump. And then all of a sudden, time out. What did Elizabeth Warren and the DOJ prevent from happening? So here's Duffy, Secretary Duffy, who's doing a great job, and here's him delivering in his update on what happened with Spirit Airlines. Go ahead, Rob.
And Spirit. And Joe Biden and Pete Buttigieg, along with the Biden DOJ, decided that they did not want that merger to take place. And at the time, the Biden and Buttigieg DOJ bragged and said, as they canceled the option for this merger, that this was a victory for U.S. travelers who deserve lower prices and better choices. Now, many at the time said this was a disaster. This merger should have been allowed. And this today would indicate this is not better for travelers. This is not better for pricing. This is not better for competition. Actually, it's worse. We had an airline go down because the markets were trying to allow two airlines to merge, make them stronger, and offer more competition for the American consumer. Also, Elizabeth Warren at the time cheered the blocking of the merger, saying that this was a Biden win for flyers. So, again, I think it's important that we always look with a keen eye when airlines want to merge. We care about pricing for consumers.
Okay, you can pause it right here. You can pause it right here on what happened. Duffy said, hey, if you work for Spirit, don't go to work. If you have a flight, don't go. It's not going to happen. If you're going to do this, don't do that. So they're going through all this stuff. And then Senator Warren is facing backlash over JetBlue merger block after Spirit shut down. Rob, do you have that one when they were going through the whole thing? This is March 7, 2023. Good work. Is this just Buttigieg or is it both of them?
Both.
Okay, go for it.
Passengers have choices, that they have access to low fares, that they have access to competition.
And socialist Elizabeth Warren said at the time, preventing a merger between JetBlue and Spirit, which would have kept us from being here today.
It's a tweet that they're going to read.
Said, I've warned for months a JetBlue-Spirit merger would have led to fewer flights, higher fares. The irony is that really kind of socialist viewpoint got us one less airline and fewer jobs.
Is that it?
Yep.
Okay, Tom, what do we know about this? Who screwed up? Whose fault is it?
So if you've got two huge giants that want to put together, that's where the Federal Trade Commission says, hey, anti-monopoly behavior, the monopolistic behavior, they don't want that to happen. But you've got JetBlue and Spirit, two smaller airlines. JetBlue, who classically, they are who they are. We all know who they are, kind of a Southwest mid-tier. And then you got Spirit that was providing, ultra low cost on certain routes. As a matter of fact, Spirit is very big here in Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah, their headquarters is here in Dania, I believe.
That's exactly right. I mean, they're huge. And so what happened was they said, oh, it'll lead to higher fares and fewer flights. They believed that JetBlue was merely going to shut down Spirit. Well, they apparently don't understand the economics of airlines. That's not what's going to happen. Market share of hubs is what matters in airlines, number one. And number two, you do have levels. And what they did last year, Pat, it came true. Elizabeth Warren says, we're going to block this because it's going to have, consumers have higher fares and fewer flights. You dumb bunny. That's exactly what you did.
Oh, no.
What? Yo.
Whoa.
Fire.
Wait. Oh, yo, don't say that.
Her.
Don't say shots
Oh, my
fired.
bad,
You're going
my
to try to
bad.
take out
Mission
Trump?
accomplished, Pocahontas.
You called him.
It's like
snap.
You look,
right now.
now you look back over
You
it.
bad bunny.
People don't have jobs.
You got Tom riled
And
up,
guess what?
everybody.
People don't have jobs. Now, what happened? Spirit had issues the way it was managed and forward. They ended up
Let
in a
them know,
place.
Tom.
I think they had $9 billion of debt. I think that was the
$9 billion.
No, JetBlue had $9 billion of debt, and so they were like, "How is JetBlue going to do this?" But if this had been like American and United coming together to make a super carrier, then you could say, "Wow, well, there go prices," and you'd probably be right. But you've got a regional and a discount airline, and the government got it wrong. They simply got it wrong because look at all the angle they were. Capitalism bad, merger for bigger bad, people bad. And you know what else? I'm gonna go out here and I'm gonna say maybe if this had been a pharmaceutical company or a defense contractor, which keep merging. How many defense contractors we have left? 5 super majors, Pat. Remember the chart that we talked about on this podcast 2 years ago about all the defense contractors had merged together, and that created, issues for the American taxpayer paying for things? This wouldn't have done that. This was, you're trying to keep. If I had been there, I would have said, look, we need to let Spirit and JetBlue get together, and I'll tell you why. Because we need to keep a mid-tier and a discount airline to be large enough to compete with American, to compete with the others. That's what I would have done. And they blew it.
Do you know what?
They missed the call.
Do you know what Elizabeth Warren, Pete Buttigieg, and the Democrats are begging and praying for and making phone calls behind closed doors?
What?
To let JetBlue, to let something happen?
To have the second airline go bankrupt.
Oh.
Because if the second airline goes bankrupt, they're right in imaging and PR. If it's only Spirit, Republicans are right. But if a second goes through, Trump's going to have to answer for that. And Duffy. And it's going to come back to oil prices. It's the second one, Tom.
Yep.
So you better believe behind closed doors, Democrats are right now sitting there saying, who's another one that could go bankrupt? Hey, let's make their life a living hell, make them go bankrupt. Who's another one that can go bankrupt?
JetBlue with $9 billion in debt. There are some people that handicap it that if you lined all the airlines up, that JetBlue is the next one that would be possible. But you look at their financials, they appear to be a long way away from the cliff.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying, they're celebrating that because play that clip, Rob, if you can.
Right.
They're celebrating that. Here's Merrick Garland on March of 2023 talking about Spirit Airlines. Go ahead, Rob.
Today, the Department of Justice filed a civil antitrust lawsuit in the U.S. District Court for the District of Massachusetts to stop the merger of JetBlue and Spirit Airlines. We are joined in that lawsuit by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, the State of New York, and the District of Columbia. I'm here with Associate Attorney General Vanita Gupta and Principal Deputy Assistant Attorney General Doha Mekki. Our complaint alleges that JetBlue's proposed $3.8 billion acquisition of Spirit violates Section 7 of the Clayton Act. We allege that if allowed to proceed, this merger will limit choices and drive up ticket prices for passengers across the country. And we further allege that the impact of this merger will be particularly harmful for travelers who rely on what are known as ultra-low-cost carriers in order to fly. Those include working and middle-class Americans who travel for personal as opposed to business reasons and who must pay their own way.
Keep going.
By acquiring Spirit, JetBlue will eliminate the largest ultra-low-cost carrier in the United States.
Oh, you just caused it, by the way. Pause it right there. So, meaning, whatever they try to prevent, this is over and over and over again, they do their policies and it miserably fails and capitalism wins, but they confuse. Okay, and look, oh my God, this is gas prices. They're going to do that. Adam, what are your thoughts on this before we move on?
Let them fail. You remember that when Chamath said that about the airlines in 2020 when they did the bailout and because they were doing their stock buybacks? He said, let them fail. Because you said this, you taught me this. What are the 4 elements of capitalism?
Freedom to buy, freedom to sell, freedom to try, freedom to fail.
Freedom to fail. So here's what I know about Spirit Airlines. And I know it's been quite some time since you've flown Spirit. I fly Spirit if I have to. They're basically the Dollar General of airlines. And when you have a business model that you're the cheapest prices You know, you're the like. How do you raise prices? How do you increase your margins? You know, if Spirit Airlines had a mantra, it'd be like low prices, bad experiences, we'll get you there, maybe.
Yeah.
So listen, I remember the last time that I flew Spirit. I flew. You know my friend Keith. You know, I have some rich friends, Vinny. It's better to have really, really rich friends. Flew to Aspen with him on his private jet from Miami. He goes, come with me to Aspen. I go, great. Fly with him. He goes, how you getting back? I go, do I get to take the jet back? He goes, no. I go, Spirit it is, homie. I flew back Spirit. Now, let me tell you, I'd rather fly private. Don't get me wrong. I know how much you guys like flying private to Aspen. I go, that's a great experience for you. But Spirit is low cost, bad experience, and there's always issues. So I don't know what happened here with Spirit. I'm not delving into the devil's in the details. Tom's got those details. But at some point, if your business model is built on razor thin margins, there's very little room for error. And when gas prices go up and travel goes down, you can't really raise the prices if you have the worst reputation. And I'll ask you this, Pat. You did a commercial for the FLBs. You said we went to Tuscany, Italy. And you said we had the choice, help me out here, Pat, to make it cheap, to make it quick, to make it fast. We chose none of those. We did it the right way.
Yep.
Spirit Airlines had to pick a path. You're the cheapest, you're the best customer service, you're either going to get you there on time. They would do neither. They were the cheapest, they would never get you there on time, and they had horrible customer service. Let them fail. Let my people go.
And I had the word, like, it was like when my father, God rest his soul, passed away, I came to the airport sad. I have a big vendetta with them. They charged me $50 because I had emotional baggage with my dad.
Emotion, that's the joke.
Pat's face with. They're like, you look like you're sad.
Yeah.
That's $50.
Yeah,
You're going to put that on the airport.
What's funny?
Pat's face
Nobody caught that joke.
They
I
charge
did.
you $50.
But this is what they would do. They will nickel and dime you for everything.
So words talk, numbers scream. And we'll get off this story, Pat. But Spirit Airlines has 1.4% market share. Oh my gosh, giant in the closet, right?
Yeah.
JetBlue has 3.4%. That's 4.8. So if they had merged, they would have had 4.8 market share.
Yeah.
Alaska is next at 5.8, and then United at 17.
Yeah.
But
so
Tom,
this would have created a low-cost plus regional player that's still smaller than Alaska and 4 times smaller than United and 6 times smaller than market leader American and Delta, who both have about 20.
Shut up,
but
Biden.
more importantly,
how do you go to
What
the
does this have to do with the giant in the closet? Like, what were they doing?
No, I'm making a
going on in
joke.
the
I mean,
closet,
it's like
Tom?
they were not some giant
Tom,
that
come out.
That was.
I got it.
Come with
I
us.
was
Come out of the
Just
closet.
like this.
So, but by the way, what you're saying is right. And look, I think we have to give the highlight reel, Rob. We can't do this. We have to give respect to Spirit because
it's done.
If you're somebody that likes entertainment, you have to give it up to what happens at Spirit.
Here it is.
Watch
Look at
this.
that.
Go
We
ahead.
got the Spirit.
Let me hear the audio. This is Spirit Airlines.
Look at the punches.
Give me the kick.
Kick, punch. Nice.
What
Vinny,
airline
this
does
is
it
where
better?
you can go recruit that.
Yep.
There's another one with employees fighting.
get the
Actually,
employ-
I haven't seen this one, but I want to
Well,
see
the
the
employees
employees fighting.
Up, right,
Go up one,
up,
Rob. It was right above
you. That one. Oh, yeah.
Watch this. Go back a little bit.
This is employees.
I be done drop kicked your ass.
That's Spirit
Fuck out
employee.
of here, you dirty bitch. Yes, you are.
She got an 8 head. Look at that 8 head right there.
You and your raggedy ass.
What?
Fuck out of here. Go suck a dick.
Oh, my God.
Stop it. Rob,
Oh,
you
my-
didn't tell me she was going to say that.
Wait a minute.
Oh, my God.
So, first Tom says giant closet, and then now she says.
Does she actually swing at her?
Okay, all right, let's get to the next story.
But more
Let's get to the
importantly,
next
Tom,
story.
how
Let's
is
get to
your
the next
emotional
story.
baggage
Let's get
right
to the
now?
next story. Next story I want to get into is there's a couple of them. I'd like to get to them.
Let's do it.
Hopefully. So the next one I want to get to is wealth tax. Okay, let's go to the wealth tax because there's something nobody is talking about with the wealth tax that you have to be thinking about. Okay, Seattle AI startup founder says he's leaving over new millionaire tax that's out there. Rob, if you got the clip here, go for it. Does it get right into it, Rob, or?
Yep, right here.
Go ahead.
You could manifest that. That was the culture here. We had a vibrant startup community. We had a very supportive startup community, and the ecosystem worked. It helped build the companies. And then for whatever reason, sort of over the last 4 or 5 years, we've seen this shift where entrepreneurship is now villainized. And it's an unfortunate and sad shift. It's probably the least friendly place to do business I can imagine. I'm Jesse Proudman, founder and CTO at Venice.ai. We don't want to be out of Washington State. We love it here, right? Like, we want to stay, but they're forcing the hands of many people based on how they're changing the climate. So you've got moderates in the middle and conservatives on the right and liberals on the left. And over time, that liberal perspective has gone farther and farther left. And the blame for the problems in the city has become focused on sort of lack of funding. And the reality
You
is...
can pause it right there. Okay, so let me just give you some numbers here. So, Tom, core rule, 7% tax on long-term capital gains is the current law, okay, is what they have. Applies to people with $700,000 plus per year in gains. The 7% on gains up to $1 million. The higher tier is 9.9% on gains above $1 million, Vinny. 9.9%. And then they're proposing this. It's going to be expected to begin around 2028 is what the date is. Then the new thing they're proposing is the 1% annual tax on financial assets, okay, which is stocks, bonds, ETFs, mutual funds, applies to the ultra wealthy over $100 million. Every year, 1%, the tax that you pay on it. So, Tom, why is this so important for people to think about, and what is the blind spot that they're not looking at?
What people, when they say tax the rich, as soon as you hear the word tax, always say in your head, everybody ultimately. Whenever you hear a politician talk about taxes, everybody ultimately. And what's in Washington, there's open, and they had an official in Washington say, beginning with the millionaires, because that's an easier place to sell it, it's obviously the intent is to tax everybody, quote unquote. So, and why are we so surprised? And we've seen people on social media that took to the fine print of the California tax. We covered it on this podcast a week ago. We showed you the areas that were being called out by many people that were there. And so now you've got a guy leaving Washington. He likes Washington. He's got family that are in Washington. He's got employees that are in Washington. And he's saying, listen, this has become more and more toxic environment here. And now we're looking at other things. We're looking at Nevada. We're looking at Austin. Wow, what a surprise. And it's, you know what? These decisions have consequences. But what it also tells you is we're in the middle of a wave. And the wave that is coming is socialism driven by Marxism. And it's an attack on assets. And it's seizure of assets. These are not taxes. These are seizing assets that have already been taxed that were used to build. Vinny, you and I get together. We took some of our money in a savings account. It's already been taxed. My money's been taxed. It's in my savings account. Your money, you'd pay taxes on. You put it in a savings account. We took that and started a business. And then we go up. And now they're saying, well, wow, your business is successful. Yeah, when we sell it, we're going to pay taxes fair and square. And the profits we make, we pay taxes fair and square. Yeah, but it's not fair that you're rich. What do you mean I'm rich? I don't have this money is now built a business. That business is worth millions of dollars. Well, you better go get some loans or go figure out how to give us a percent of it. They want you to pay that. Jeez. That business hasn't even been sold. It just represents value. And so this is asset seizure, Pat. This is asset seizure on a socialist Marxist way, and you're seeing people such as a small startup like this looking at it and going, oh my gosh, it's not just the billionaires, it's everybody.
Adam.
Stupid. These people just do not learn from what socialism happens. You remember when Europe tried this in France and Sweden and they kicked out all their capitalists and entrepreneurs and they go, oh my God, we lost all our revenue generation, and they quickly reverse course. You cannot tax your way to prosperity, because what rich people have are assets, cars, planes, boats, and you know what they're going to do with them? They're going to get the hell out of town. This whole concept that we're villainizing and demonizing entrepreneurs, business owners, capitalists, where do we think this is going to end up? We already have a progressive tax in the country that already, the richest people already pay the most taxes. Now you want to tax them more. At some point, you know, there's the whole concept with bend, then they're going to break. They're just going to leave. I'll give you one quick story. I remember there was a nightlife club in Miami. I know you're going to be shocked that I'm bringing up nightlife in Miami.
Yeah, here we go.
And the owner goes, you know what? I'm sick of doing the bottle service and catering to like the richest people. I want to make this bar about everybody. And we're going to give $5 well drinks. And we're basically not going to be doing bottle service anymore. And basically, we're just going to cater to the everyman. You know what happened? Mm-hmm. All the rich ballers, the people that are popping bottles, the people that got money, the people that are buying bottles in the club with the sparklers, they go, yeah, we're just going to go to a different club that's more fun, that likes us, that appreciates our money. We're dropping $5,000, $10,000. You want to bring the riffraffs in. 1 year later, the club is ghetto. It's basically shut down. It's on its last leg. And I remember thinking, this is what happens. We don't value the customers because they will go someplace else. I know there's other clubs or states in this analogy that they're going to go to, like Florida, like Texas, like Nevada, and they're going to get out of these big blue dumb cities.
This is Vinny, this is the biggest thing why this is a bad idea. This idea could have worked in the 70s, not today. And here's why. Do you know in the 70s, when you think about S&P 500, our money was tied to S&P 500, okay? So the people who ran these companies in the 70s, what percentage of it do you think was physical assets? Okay? Tom knows the answer to this question. Of all the companies that you own, physical that you have a hard time leaving, so real estate or physical assets, what percentage was tied to physical assets? Tom, what do you think it was?
In the 70s?
In the 70s.
It was in excess of 80%.
Exactly.
Oil companies, auto companies, so factories. And
you can't leave.
Steel.
You cannot leave. It's like, I can't leave. Do you know what the number is today? Do you know what the number is today? 10%.
Wow.
And where
is it? 10 to 15%
meaning
today.
Just real estate or hard assets.
So no, it's
Everything's in the
all
market.
non-tangible assets.
Yeah.
So it means it's all digital. I can't move anywhere.
Yeah.
So wait, you don't want me? No problem. I'll move. The days of me being like, come on, please, because it's
done.
real estate, because it's no, I'm at it. Can you verify this, Rob, to see what percentage of? So this is the one thing everybody is missing. There's only one thing there is left for them to do. Only one thing left for them to do, and they haven't done it yet. And they're going to. This is my prediction. They're going to go into this because their accountants are going to sit there and okay, right there. Look at that. Go a little bit lower, Rob. Go a little bit lower. Right there. Look at that. 1975. 83% was tangible assets. 17% is intangible. Look at it today. 8% is tangible. You can't do shit today.
Wow.
Go ahead. Tax me. Go. Make me leave. What are you going to send me? Do you understand? Do you understand what this means?
1,000%.
I'll take my wealth to Florida.
And it's happening.
Of course, Sergey Brin's like, I'm going to take my wealth anywhere. You can push you. So you know how scarier even this is? I can take my wealth to any country.
That's bad.
If I wanted to leave, right? Because it's what? It is intangible versus tangible. So what is the only thing they have left that they're going to do, that they can do, that they're going to eventually end up doing? You know what's the only thing, Tom? It's the only thing is the exit tax. And they're not fully there yet. No state in America fully has an exit tax. Rob, can you check this? What states in America have a full-on exit tax?
California, kind of.
And New York was trying. New York said he's trying.
Those are the
right?
two states that they're trying to do.
Clawback tax?
It is. It's kind of like what Canada has. You're like when you leave, no state currently has an exit tax. So you know what these idiots are going to learn? They're going to say, let me get this straight. As of 2026, the state is considering $1 billion tax or whatever, 5% of $1 billion. You see what that says, right? Additionally, a proposed wealth tax could apply to residents with a net worth of $30 million plus with a potential liability of what? Up to 10 years. They're going to realize in an era where only 8% of the wealth is tied to tangible, 92% is tied to intangible, they're going to say the only thing we can do now is an exit tax. You leave, 5% exit tax.
Walk me through the mechanics. This is mind-blowing. Because just follow the money here. 90% of assets in the 70s.
You can't leave.
Were tangible.
You had to work with politicians. Politicians owned you in the 70s. Wow. They don't today because of technology.
So what would an exit tax essentially do, and how they
Here's
would
what an exit tax would. And I'm telling you, I'm giving them the playbook, but I'm telling you, they're going to come to your city and it's going to be on the ballot. Because you know what they're going to say? I don't even know why they did this. They just have to go. You know, in a movie, Hangover says, you never go full. You know, not Hangover. It's
Tropic Thunder.
Yeah. So they're going to go full exit tax. Okay?
Never go full exit
and
tax.
And they're going to.
Never go full wealth tax.
And you know what happens when they do full exit tax? Here's what happens. Hey, you were $250. If you really want to get a communistic idea or socialistic idea, you had a 5% exit tax for anybody that's worth over $1 billion. It will go through in every blue state. They'll do this in New York. They'll do this in California. They'll do this in Illinois. They'll do this in all these states like Washington, thinking, we got them. We got them. You morons. 8% is tangible. I'm leaving. To all the socialist communists that are thinking they're going to get these guys, they're going to get their asses handed to them. And I think the one that's going to break the camel's back, this is bad, but it's going to be the 5% exit tax that they do. Once they do that, it's not going to be, I don't think anybody's going to leave. Oh, really? Okay. I dare you, Newsom. I dare you, Hochul. Go ahead and put an exit tax. See what happens to your state. I dare to everybody that's trying to put this billionaire tax that stays there. These people are going to leave. But what they're going to want to do long term, you'll see in the next 5, 10, 15 years, just like right now, ruling came out, Rob. Can you pull this up? They're talking about we need to raise the minimum wage from $7.25 to $25 an hour. It just went to Congress. This just went to Congress, Rob, if I'm not mistaken. Am I saying it correctly or no?
Yeah.
Is this the story?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, Rob. 30 seconds. Watch this, folks.
Legislation being introduced in Congress to raise the federal minimum wage for the first time since the year 2009. The bill looks to raise the minimum wage to $25 an hour from the current $7.25. The bill would work in steps for large employees to pay that rate by 2031.
Okay, so check this
smaller
out.
Employees.
So check this out. Who do you think doesn't care about this bill? Amazon. Who do you think doesn't care about this bill? Walmart. Who else? Apple, NVIDIA. I don't know. Name them. IBM. Keep going. They don't care about this bill. You know who does? Mary and John's liquor store that's been in the family for 58 years in Toledo. Okay? In Hope, Arkansas. How the hell is somebody that's running a small little market in Hope, Arkansas going to afford to pay all their employees $25 an hour? How? That's $50,000 a year salary. These are the dumb ideas that they come up with, thinking they're helping the average person, and all they're doing is helping the big business out. Because a big business owner can't afford it. You ever wonder, we used to have 14,000 banks in America, give or take. You know what we got right now? 4,000. One by one, they're getting picked up. We used to have 50-something, military contractors outside of just Boeing, General Dynamics. We had 50-something plus. What do we got right now? 5 to 7? Nationalize the hell out of it. We had all these places that we used to go to, pharmaceutical. Now, buy them out. How? Dumb regulation like this. So I predict they're going to come out with exit tax, and that'll be the way to control them, because what they truly want to do to these billionaires is if you leave, you owe us the money. Without us, you would have never made this money. That's coming to a blue state near you. But this intangible, tangible part that no one thinks about changes the game. It's not going to work because anybody can move today. It's not a big deal. For people to move in 2026, it's not like for people to move in 1976.
Of course. Especially if you have digital, you have crypto, you
Move.
have unrelated assets.
Move.
About this minimum wage thing, this really pisses me off. Because if you do it state by state, which is basically how this works, every state has their minimum wage, you go federal. Do you know what this is going to do to the average red state out there? Look at Alabama, look at Mississippi, look at Tennessee, where they're paying the kid making pizza, the kid scooping ice cream, $10, $12, $15. Now you're going to universally condemn everybody and say everyone in America has to pay the prices because you big blue cities can't get it together. So you know what's going to happen is it's almost like they don't even know the next move. Your Happy Meal is $29.95. Pizza, $38 for a pizza pie. Sushi, $99. Everything is going to go up. Supply and demand here. You raise the prices, you raise the cost of labor, then people are going to end up paying.
Exactly. By the way,
it's so stupid.
I'm going to give a quick shout. We rarely do this, and we should do it more often. Y Frost 13 has been a member with us for 47 months. He says tacos and pupusas will be $9.95. 3 tacos for $30. He's right.
Exactly.
That's where it's going.
I don't know what pupusas are, but sign me up.
Well, the pupusas are great. If you had pupusa, you had a smile on your face.
Or it's El Salvadorian, I don't know.
While we're going through this, do you want to go through another horrible idea? You know how they say the donkey of the week? We're going to do the worst idea of the week.
Donkey of the week.
Watch what happened with Norway. Rob, pull up this story. It's folks. Blood pressure.
Oh no.
Control it.
No, here I go.
No, Vinny. I'm telling you, your blood pressure is about to go up.
I didn't see that.
So take some. What do you call it?
Ivermectin.
Whatever.
My
blood pressure medicine.
It fixes everything.
Watch this.
Lozartan.
Watch this here, folks. Brace for impact. You're about to get very, very upset and annoyed by this. So, Syrian gets just 6 months in jail for raping a 3-year-old Norwegian girl, 13-year-old Norwegian girl after court cites his low IQ.
What?
Did you? Okay, so let me break this down for you.
Never go full
Rape
R.
is now legal in Norway if you're from a low IQ country. A Syrian migrant who raped a 13-year-old girl in a bike shed gets just 6 months in prison because the court decided that this low IQ and reduced understanding of reality made him no more developed than his victim. Did you just understand this idea that they have in Norway? So this guy whose name is Abdel Monem Abdellarazak Al Yosef rolled into
all those names.
Rolled into Norway from Syria, met the girl in Trosmo City Center last September, assaulted her on a park bench, then dragged her to a scheduled bike shed near the harbor terminal and raped her like an animal. He lied, denied even meeting her until his semen was found and matched. Then he admitted meeting her, but claimed no sex. The court bought enough evidence, bought enough of his excuses to let him walk after a year behind bars, thanks to a new law that scrapped the old 3-year minimum for rape. This is the compassion looks like in Europe now, importing predators and then crying about their low IQ while little girls get destroyed, okay? Get destroyed. This is from a guy named Joey Manarino who tweeted this, and you can read the story here as well. While I'm reading this tweet, I'm texting Humberto Ram. I'm saying, is this true? Is this really true? Yes. That's the whole thing. One assessment estimated that his IQ is at 41, although a later report put it in a range of 64 to 75. Vinny, your thoughts on this?
I don't even have any words to say that this is exactly the playbook that everybody, like every freaking place in Europe is doing the same stupid mentality, and they're bowing down because they let all these people come in. Pat, what was the Pakistani rape gangs? You know why they didn't go after them? You know why that they said publicly we cannot go after them? Because we're going to look like we are racist. So forget about all the young girls that are freaking lives are destroyed because you don't want to look or be perceived as racist. You're not going after this. And then you have this. Well, because he's stupid, you can go rape. God bless you. And then what's next? Murder? I don't know. That I'm stupid, that I can't kill people. And it's ridiculous, Pat. This whole mentality that's stupid.
What is that, Rob? Is that where he...
This is the Norwegian reporting of the same article. I just translated it to English, but it's the same thing.
My mind is boggled that the citizens of this place aren't doing more to rise up. This would be, God forbid, it would never happen. If this type of stuff was allowed here, Pat, Americans, patriots would go freaking nuts.
This would never happen in Poland or U.S.
No, absolutely. I agree. Oh, Poland, forget about it. But it's ridiculous because I guarantee you the majority of these people aren't armed. They can't do nothing. And they have to sit there and let their freaking children get raped,
thoughts,
and let go because the guy's an idiot.
Tom.
Unbelievable.
Well, we know who values human life and who doesn't. And Marxist socialist, and people say, Norway's not Marxist. Yeah. Socialist and liberal apologists do not value human life. Period, period, period. The innocent young girl is not valued, is not protected. This is the case for chemical castration. This is the case for institutionalization because, unfortunately, wherever this guy came from, and I say unfortunately and tragically, whatever happened to him in his life, whatever it was, inbreeding, a head injury, we don't know. Whatever it's led to him being this way, he's unfit to be part of society. So you have to chemically castrate him and put him in an institution. There's no other choice. And you have to take care of him in there in a place where he can't hurt others. And hurt others is what they don't care about. They don't care about that because it's fashionable. It's fashionable to take all the conservatives that want the foundational things. And what is that? Law and order, family, a stable society, all of that. All of those people are wealthy. All of those people are bad. It's all of the Marxist thing is we have to overthrow it. And as long as their mindset is socialist overthrow, Marxist overthrow, then this is just the tip of the iceberg. This is just basics. And let me tell you something. If you're not paying attention when you're at the American ballot box and you don't see the kind of things that are happening, and you don't think that courts are doing this right now, and you don't think that there's a lack of persecution in places like Dearborn, Michigan, you're not paying attention. If you're not paying attention to individualized laws that they want to give Sharia law inside the boundary of a small city that they're trying to create as a zone in Texas, then you're not paying attention. You're simply not paying attention.
Norway No way. This is the definition of suicidal empathy, and this is a horrible precedent. So let me get this straight. Because someone's stupid, you're just willing to give them a pass. This is the definition of the soft bigotry of low expectations. This is, so you got Forrest Abubakar Gump out here, just out there, hide your wife, hide your kids, because he's out there graping everybody, and you're giving him 6 months for a Syrian refugee in Norway who raped a 13-year-old, 6 months in jail. Let me tell you the dangerous precedent this sends, because if you're just basically going to not throw stupid-ass people in jail, talk about low IQ individuals, talk about inbreeding and cousin marriages. Here's the fear. This guy's from Syria. What do all these countries have in common? Syria, Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Yemen, Afghanistan. As much as 30 to 60% of their population marries their cousin. What happens when you have inbreeding and marrying your cousin? You might have a couple missing chromosomes. You might not know what's going on. You might be stupid. And now you're going to be so stupid in Norway that you're going to be like, oh, he doesn't know any better. Let Abubakar Basaratawata just go out there and rape people? Yeah, that's his name. Well, this is what's going on here in Norway? No way.
I'm very curious, and I want to know, Pat, please give me the mindset of the people that are like the courts and all these people that would even fathom saying, okay, he's stupid, reduce his sentence and let him leave. Meaning everybody in Europe. And remember in Hamburg, that rape gang, a bunch of guys kept coming to the park to rape this girl. None of but in court, you know who got the most time in jail? A girl that found him online and called him a rapist pig. She did more time for calling him out. I want to know Pat's opinion.
They don't know any better.
How are you letting
their
that
culture?
By the way,
respect their culture.
A part of what you're saying, Vinny, is the reason why we do what we do on a daily basis. I can't tell you how many people walk up and they say, hey, just want you to know. And especially right now, more than ever before, people walking up and saying, hey, I just want to say thank you. And by the way, they're international. They're all over the world. I just want to say thank you for what you guys are talking about. Because some of these countries don't have a voice and they can't talk about it, but they still have YouTube open in these countries. This is exactly why we do what we do. Why media and messaging matters. Because to you, it's common sense. To billions of families, it's common sense. But to some of the people that are political people that are super tolerant and, hey, we got to have sympathy for these guys. We got to, you don't know what it is to be dumb, Vinny. If you were dumb, we can't judge you for behavior like that because your IQ is low. They're going to do this stuff and they're going to hurt so many people not knowing it. And messaging and media matters for this exact reason. Let me do a couple other stories and then we'll wrap up. By the way, the two stories we'll do, they're good stories I'm going to get into here in a minute. FYI, do you know how many people have already taken a survey? Do you know how many people have already taken a survey?
11,000 people.
Huh? 1,100 people. We are right now. No. It's at 2,700 people.
Stop it.
Yes.
Holy moly.
2,700 people have already taken a survey, and it's probably at 3,000 already, and I'm behind on the
guys.
numbers.
We appreciate you. Yeah. Thank you for doing that.
The fact that you're doing the survey, each gets $25 gift card. And again, we're going to possibly contact the people that give thorough feedback and analysis instead of just doing the simple surveys that you do. You complete it, we're giving you $25. But we want people, $25 gift card to vtmerch.com. Go pick up whatever you want to do from there.
You just dropped 60 grand on these guys.
No, it's 60 grand. You're talking about 2,700 times 25. Yeah, $60,000. Well, by tomorrow, it's probably going to be $200,000-$300,000. Yeah, of course.
He wants let me get this survey going right now.
We want surveys.
Fire Adam. Yeah, I got it.
We want feedback from people to see what we can do to get better.
I didn't realize that you're giving everybody $25 gift cards.
Everybody that completes the survey gets a $25 gift card.
Did you expect 2,000, 2,500 people to sign?
I said to Humberto this morning, I gave the number. I said it's either going to be a low number or it's going to be a very, very high number.
You're going to end up paying $100,000
no problem.
to our
no
people.
problem. Feedback's worth it.
Coming out of your paycheck. Anyway.
Feedback is worth it. And so we're going the other way. The federal government's going to 25. We're going to $375 an hour. Okay, effective next month.
Reverse wealth tax, entrance tax.
Yeah, but we're going to put camps and different places you can sleep here, so we'll save on rent.
Perfect.
All right, let's get to this. So again, thank you for everybody that's doing this. It means a lot, and we appreciate the feedback. And we can't wait to go through it, seeing the reasonable answers. I'm sure there's going to be some that are having fun with it, but we want reasonable answers and argument on why. Okay, Cuba. Trump, They extend the sanctions, not making it easier, okay? Rubio's apparently going to be leading this case with Cuba, which makes sense. Rob, what page is that on there? Page 10? Trump teases U.S. will be taking over Cuba almost immediately. Is this it, Rob?
Yes, sir.
Go for it.
An architect who's really talented. He's done a lot of work for him. He's got a flair, a beautiful Hispanic flair in particular. And he comes from originally a place called Cuba, which we will be taking over almost immediately. No, Cuba's got problems. We'll finish one first. I like to finish a job. On the way back from, what we'll do, on the way back from Iran, we'll have one of our big, maybe the USS Abraham Lincoln aircraft carrier, the biggest in the world. We'll have that come in, stop about 100 yards offshore, and they'll say, "Thank you very much, we give up."
Tom, you're loving this. Why?
Well, because you know what? I'll tell you. I went to high school down here. Last 2 years of high school, people know it was in Boca Raton. Then I went back to L.A., California, where I was born. And what was interesting is at that time, I remember meeting people that were from Cuba. And these were fellow classmates. And they told me about their parents and grandparents, and they told me about Castro, and they told me also about the Murillo boat lift, of which was lightly featured and reflected on at the beginning of the movie Scarface, where all people came here. And these people have lived in Cuba that have been stuck there, unable to leave. It's been horrible. And I've been looking forward to a day where Cuba would have freedom. So people that were here that I spoke to that said, I wish I could go there see an aunt. I wish I could go there see an uncle. And you probably have lots of friends like this, Adam, down in Miami. Says, I wish we could go back there. Well, my grandma can't get out, but everybody's there. It's not great, but she doesn't really want to, leave. And what I see and hear, it's time to, turn the page on Castro's Cuba and see if we can give, freedom and trade and tourism, to between Cuba and the United States. And I hope it happens. Now, do I want it to happen at the barrel of a gun? No. But, does it need to happen with maybe some impending threat? Like says, hey, I think it's time you got your act together and we'd like to do this. I like it. Would I like to see Cuba similar to Puerto Rico where people could come and go and we would provide some protection to it? Sure, I would. Do I want it to be suddenly a sinkhole of U.S. dollar and foreign aid that just goes into a hole? No, I don't want to see that. But I think it sits there 90 miles. You can go to the end of Key West at the southernmost point in America. There's this big concrete, like a buoy that stands there. It's like this monument. And then it says southernmost point. And right at the bottom of it, it says on one side, it says 90 miles to Cuba. There it is. There it is. Been standing down there. People take pictures of this, Pat, whenever they're down there. 90 miles to Cuba. So 90 miles from freedom, people have been down there. And I'd like to see it happen. And I'd like to see it happen in a methodical way that gives opportunity to those people and they could develop. Because $40 a gallon embargoed gas that you only pay for if you desperately need it right now is not a way to go. And I think it's time that we said enough. We're going to help you and we're going to bring these people. So many families, so many citizens are here in Miami. I like to see it happen, but I want it to be methodical and I want them to have opportunity.
Adam.
Look, I love Cuba and I love the Cubans people. I call myself Juban because I grew up in Miami and I'm Jewish and basically speak Spanish. So shout out to mi gente in Miami and in Cuba. Cuba's on its last leg, and I would love to see Trump finish the job. And I think Marco Rubio is going to be the guy that basically puts the nail in the coffin. Look, I take my Ubers every single day.
We know.
Every day, it's either a Cuban driver or a Venezuelan driver. And I ask them the same thing. It's the same question. And I joke with them. I go, hey, Fidel, communism, bueno? And the guy driving looks back and goes, no, muy malo. I go, no, perfecto. Comunismo, socialismo es muy bueno. Hey, no, it's no good. It's no good. And I'm joking with him like, no, socialism's good. Fidel is good. One guy goes, hey, you got to get out of my car. I go, I'm sorry, sir. I have my
And
American
then he got
flag
out and he
pin.
took a crap on the freeway.
That's the other guy. And I give my American flag pin. Not one, and I kid you not one Cuban I know, and I know thousands in Miami, not one goes, oh, bro, we love what Fidel Castro has done to Cuba. Not one. Every single person wants America to finish the job. Cuba deserves better. Rob, I don't know if we have 10 seconds. I went to Cuba for Keith's bachelor party. This is the second Keith shout out today. When I talk about a city crumbling, this is the downtown center of the city. Look at these buildings. There's a couple other pictures here. They're living in the 50s. Every single car that they have is a 1950s Thunderbird, or I don't know if Robbie, but any things you got. So we can either do this with the carrot or with the stick. Here's the, unfortunately, we might have to do, that's me with my driver and my bodyguard in the back. Every car looks like this. So if you enjoy history and you want to see what it's like in the 1950s, go to Cuba. This is their downtown capital under construction. The whole place is falling apart. They deserve better. That's something different. Let's get a little capitalism and less socialism in Cuba.
Well,
Libertad, Cuba.
Listen, it's great. A lot of things cooking. If the president gets a lot of these deals done post-World Cup, it's going to be a very difficult time for all his haters. If he gets a lot of these things done post-World Cup, it's going to be a very, very annoying season for all the people who hate him from the left, right, or the center. They're going to be hating life for all the people that says if he gets it done. The key word is what? If. That's a heavy word, Vinny.
We'll see.
Yeah, but
That's a we'll see. That's right, Tom. That's a heavy word.
Cuba's more like a Venezuela. It's not going to
Cuba's
be
a lot
like
easier.
Iran.
Yeah, but listen.
No,
It's not Iran.
We will be going to Cuba soon. I'm telling you right now. We're definitely going to Poland. Okay, a lot of people are connecting me saying, Pat, I'm telling you, when I announce I'm going to Poland, I cannot tell you how many people message me saying there's no way you can go to Poland without inviting the audience. So we may do something and go with a crew. Like we may announce something for some of you guys that are stay close to us. But anyways, all the people that went out there and did the surveys and you filled out, again, go to, what is it, Rob? Survey.vt.com?
Yes, sir.
Survey.vt.com. We just crossed, I think, 3,000 of the people that are doing this. Fantastic. I can't wait to personally go through all this stuff myself with the team and see the results. We've always been about outwork, out-improve, out-strategize, outlast. This is our out-improve. We want to find a way to improve ourselves, and we know we have blind spots. We know we have a lot of areas to get better on. But we can't wait to hear the feedback from you guys. Having said that, special story, Valuetainment Comedy, a special podcast, is about to go live. If it isn't already live.
It's going live in 2 minutes at 11:30.
How close are you to 1 million?
And that is Laura Trump on Hotcakes and Hot Takes.
Amazing.
With Vinny.
Look at the veins on my neck.
Vinny, how close are you to 1 million?
9,000 away.
I want to thank
Come on,
everybody.
guys. Help out Vinny on his birthday.
We are at 991,809 subs. This is a very, very good conversation. They had 6 Secret Service come in, Brad. They patted everybody.
Wow.
They did a strip search for me, and they literally laughed for 20 minutes.
What's crazy is
what they
your
found.
YouTube channel, GDP, is the equivalent to that of Cuba right now.
Yes.
So keep up the good work.
Yeah.
All right.
So, it's going live
Go
right
to
after
Rob,
this.
put the link below. With that being said, God bless everybody. We got another podcast that'll come out tomorrow, and we'll do it again on Wednesday. Take care. Bye-bye.